Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still gone about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is already November.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It is crazy. About a year from now will be the presidential election, right?
Yeah. I can't even fathom that. I mean, we're going to talk about that, like, because there is another primary debate next week, and we'll talk about that. It's the same day. It'll be on Wednesday. So next week we're recording a day later.
Yeah.
Because we want to talk about the new Loki episode. Well, next week is the last Loki episode, and it's also the Republican primary debate.
Yes. Yeah.
Hopefully it will be as exhilarating as the last. That one was so fucking boring.
It really was. Yeah, I mean, there's always some interesting stuff that comes about after it, but the debate itself was real disappointing. Although I have high hopes for the next one because DeSantis and Haley are kind of tied neck and neck for a distant second. So they're going to have to make their moves. So we'll see.
Second, I love that. That second in the Republican primary next to Trump is a distant second.
They're tied. I think they're both at 66 or 16% or 12%, something like that. But they're both 44 points behind Trump, the 92 times indicted ex-criminal warlord.
Melting brain, sickly, weird.
It's so weird.
About as himself.
It's so weird.
I never understood the appeal of that man. To this day, I get it. Like, people's brain, people have worms for brains. Like, it doesn't. And if somebody's like, "Can you explain why you like Joe Biden?"
Right.
My simple answer to that is, that's the only guy we have.
Yeah.
Right now, because he's the president. He's the guy who's going to prevent your idiot from getting in. Like,
exactly.
If you look at me, no, I don't think I would want Joe Biden as president, but I will take him any day over fucking Trump or any Republican at this point.
Taco Bell might not have the best food, but if my options are Taco Bell versus Roseanne's loose meat sandwiches,
and by that it's poop. Roseanne,
right?
Cat litter box sandwiches.
Then you go with Taco Bell. Yeah, I mean, I think Joe Biden's done a fine job. I really like a lot of stuff he's done. Other stuff,
the Israel stuff's a little weird, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
By a little weird, I mean awful. But I feel like, honestly, the sad reality is I think any sitting president would be just as bad as him. Honestly, Trump would be worse because he would be inflaming the entire thing, and he would just be like telling Netanyahu to go in and just wipe them all out.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're right. I think that I can't think of a politician that would be too much better.
The United States policy as a whole, foreign policy as a whole, is in line with Israel, just like it's in line with its other allies.
Yeah, and that's been the case for a long time.
And the reality, though, is if Trump was president while this is all going on, I can't even imagine the nightmare, the additional nightmare on top of all the shit that we see going on. It would just be inflamed. It would be like accelerated. It would be, and I'm talking about not like what's going on there is awful. It would be, he would bring it home here. Like it would be, like I said, there'd be boogaloo boys in the streets and shit. Like there'd be all kinds of weird shit going on. Our podcast, Joseph. What the fuck, man? Bringing it all down. I'm trying
very quickly.
I went in, I was like, I love November. It's a little crisp out. I had our first snow in Colorado. It was pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And we saw Guns N' Roses last week. That was good.
How was that show? Was it good?
It was good. Then they played like a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The seats they were the best worst seats ever. They were literally like the top of the place, but
Okay.
they were dead center.
Oh, nice.
So like we weren't off to the side, we weren't like in a weird location. We had a perfect view of the stage. And the whole time I was going, I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. I've crushed out Axl Rose at least 36 times.
Yeah.
I would
I
crush Slash, but his hat would keep popping back up.
yeah, I would love to. I've never seen Guns N' Roses. I would love to. They're I wouldn't say like they're my favorite band or anything, but I really like them a whole bunch.
It's
And I like
they give you your money's worth, that's for damn
yeah,
sure. And
I like all
I'll
their
say
stuff.
this, dude, I'm glad I saw them now, actually, and not like 10 years ago or whatever it was, like
Yeah,
where Slash wasn't in the band and
right, right.
Axl Rose.
Well, I
He's
wouldn't
like,
have
go
minded
ahead, what?
I wouldn't have minded seeing that band either. They had like Buckethead and Tommy
Yeah.
Stinson on bass. I mean, they had some good
Yeah, but if you're gonna see the band,
musicians.
you want to see the band, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. I wish Izzy Stradlin was still with them because he's really good.
Well,
You'll,
it
I know
was
this isn't.
like I said, they played like 3 freaking hours. It was pretty crazy. And they're really good. Like I said, I was shocked, man. Slash fucking doing like solos the entire time. Fucking endurance on these guys. These guys are like,
Yeah,
well, dude, they're like early 60s.
probably.
Yeah, like Axl Rose, dude, he's definitely in shape. He was like running around. His voice, obviously, not what it was. Sometimes he sounds like an old British woman, or like Miss Doubtfire sometimes, and then sometimes he sounds great. But like, my son were talking about it, like I went with him, and we saw Motley Crue like the year before, and
Yeah,
it's awful live. It's like laughably bad. And I say, which one's better? Like even if Axl Rose was 10 times worse than he
yeah,
was, he would still have been better than Vince Neil was.
yeah. I
Like,
see. I was going to mention that, not that this is a heavy metal show, but I
no, it's
heard the
not.
new Mick Mars solo stuff. Have you? He has a solo album out now.
Is it made from his crypt?
No, it sounds great. It sounds like old Motley Crue. It really
Well, the
does.
joke was that didn't he they kicked him out or something, and then he came out and he was like, "Fucking these guys suck." Like, what's his face doesn't even play half the time.
Yeah. He said like Nikki
Six
Six.
barely plays.
Yeah. And I believe it. I mean, like but anyway, the new Mick Mars stuff sounds like old Motley Crue. It sounds real good. I'm not like huge into that music anymore, but I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. So anyway.
Like I said, I'm glad I saw Guns N' Roses. Will I need to see them again? Probably not. I think I got my I never was like a huge fan. It's kind of cool though. It is the band that got my son into that kind of music.
Yeah.
Like he even said that to me because he did. He was like, he was like 8, I think, and like actually one of those old pictures of Facebook
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
like probably one of the last Halloweens like before the fucking pandemic hit. He was Axl Rose.
Yeah, yeah.
His hair is like longer than that wig now.
Yeah, that's funny. Well,
All
anyway, that's cool.
right. Well, what are we gonna talk about this week that doesn't involve Israel or
Or
Axl
Motley
Rose?
Crue.
Or Axl Rose.
We're going to talk about the state of Marvel Studios. You had pointed me towards the article in Variety, and then we both read some stuff about the article that said Marvel Studios might be in trouble. We're going to talk about episode 5, season 2 of Loki,
Yeah.
which was real good. I found it a little confusing, but in a good way. I mean, I don't need all the answers right this second. We're talking about Across the Spider-Verse, which is now on Netflix. And then we're going to talk about well-known weirdo Mike Johnson, who is
Well
the
known, unknown weirdo, you mean. Now unfortunately well known because he's a
yeah.
superhero.
I recycled
Yeah,
my
say Mike Johnson 10 times fast.
yeah. I recycled my J.C. Penney's joke about him today, and it was well received. People can't get enough of
Where?
it.
At
On Twitter,
your boarding school?
No, I responded to someone
Your
else's
daughter's
tweet.
school. You don't say that joke at the junior high. You leave that one home.
Yeah, yeah, it's a classic. We're talking about the primary debates, which we mentioned take place next week. Without Mike Pence, who's dropped out, but we're talking
Yep.
about that and Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley.
Ron
We're gonna.
DeSantis' weird shoes. We're
Oh
gonna talk about
God,
that. His
that's
boots.
all people are talking about.
That's all. This guy. Well, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
We're talking about in Colorado. They're trying to get Trump kicked off the ballot. That's in court right now.
Yeah.
And there's another state in which they're trying to get him kicked off the ballot. It's an interesting question. Then we're talking about the move to expel George Santos, which fell not because 31 Democrats voted against it, but there's some confusion around it. We're going to talk about that, and then we're going to finish it up with some Twitter stuff. This awful PragerU ad, which was shoved down everyone's throat today.
But
And
transitioning.
yeah, it's just
That was weird. What a fucking weird thing to fixate on. What fucking the right wing's bizarre.
yeah,
Yeah, I want to talk about why it's important to block accounts like this
yeah,
from your feed. I mean, I'll say it again, but I'll say now, like, if you're not in media, if you're not like, if you don't make a living as a reporter or in media, like a joke is, yeah, we have a podcast and everything like that, but I haven't made a dime off of this. I
right.
can't speak to Joseph, who says he doesn't make any money off of this, but every time I see him, he has another Rolex on.
I'm jetting off to Kansas or Western
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
he's got his Bugatti. He's going to Monaco, Kansas.
Got my fancy boots that add 3 inches to my height. Got my
Yeah,
fancy.
you're a real Ron DeSantis. You have with the grill on your mouth
Yes, yeah.
while you
Well,
grill with your new fancy grill.
right, right.
I have no reason to. It's not my job to follow these people.
No,
I know they're all they're doing is ruining my psyche, and I think
yeah,
they're
for
ruining
sure.
everyone else's psyche. So we'll talk about that, and I think it's important. There's nothing wrong with blocking these people. There's
No,
nothing gained by having them show up. I mean, you could say like, "Oh, don't go on social media." No, fuck
sure.
that. I want to go on social media. I'm not gonna like get ruined by these
No.
jackasses. All right, we'll talk about that. Before we get started, though, I want to talk about this. I did this funny TikTok recently. I've been seeing like all these bullshit. Whoa, it's not Halloween anymore. Uh, there was this like bullshit. I've been seeing a lot of these. I'm an artist, and I see a lot of these bullshit reels on Instagram and TikToks, whatever, of like it's usually like a pretty like attractive woman or whatever, and they're talking
Yeah,
about or some young dude or whatever, and they're like talking about their sales, what they make as an artist or whatever, and they're
yes.
pointing out, and they have this bullshit long caption, and it's just like it's just like this has to be bullshit. No fucking way. Like this is a lie. Like you are not making 15,000 a month doing this.
Yeah,
There's like a scam here. Like this long like caption on all the tips and everything. I'm like, so I made one as a joke where it's like how much I made like in Etsy, and I was like $40 or something. I mean, I'm making it worse
right.
than this. It was like 50. I'm rolling it. YouTube, I'm not making any money. Zero referrals. Who sponsors what? And then like taxes 4,000. It was like a joke. I don't think people understood what I was doing.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, I've been seeing those. I saw that a lot during like the crypto craze, like these like scammy like what was that girl's name who went to jail? She was a rapper.
Oh, Razzle Khan.
Yeah, but like more attractive women that like Razzle Khan is an acquired taste. But
She's the Sandra Bernhard of crypto.
yeah, Sandra Bernhard.
Kind of, like real awesome in a way, but
Like she kind of got a thing going.
yeah, you got to really be into that thing. Like it's yeah.
Razzle Khan's got a Sandra Bernhard thing going on. I'd see these like, and they'd be talking about like all these investments, and they would be like, I would always hear the term passive income,
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah. That's a
all
big
these
tip off.
scams. Oh my god, so many of these scams. And I remember this one guy who is like talking about why it's important to get NFTs and like all the passive income, how he just bought a $400,000 house because of NFTs. And I'm just like, no, you didn't.
Yeah,
No,
he
you
didn't do
didn't.
that.
You're a fucking liar.
Or if you did, it was that you somehow swindled it out of other people.
Right,
Like you,
exactly. Like, yes, you were bragging to me that you got a $400,000 house because you're trying to scam money out of me.
yeah,
So
right.
you were able to buy that. I'm not going to be able to get anything. I'm going to be stuck. What's the term? Holding the bag.
Yes, and the
I'm sorry,
bag.
but like if you enter, now I do like a lot of collecting. I collect like a lot of comics and stuff like that.
Yes.
There's a lot of like scammy. There's a lot of scammers involved with that too. It usually involves like variant covers, limited edition. I don't fall
Yes.
for that crap. I only go after what I like, stuff that I know actually has real value. But when I hear the terms holding the bag, that means you got conned. Like
Yeah, for sure. You got razzle conned.
you got razzle conned, and not in a good Sandra Bernhard way,
No.
but more like the Sandra Bernhard from the what was that Robert De Niro movie where he's nuts and he kidnaps
Yeah, King of Comedy.
yeah, King of Comedy. Yeah, Sandra Bernhard from King of Comedy. Like,
Yeah, you're not the without you I'm nothing Sandra Bernhard. You're like
I don't think she looks nothing like Sandra
yeah, it
Bernhard.
was more like a more like a vibe thing than a
Yeah,
looks
I got you.
thing.
Yeah. Nah, not even the same vibe. She's just like a dork. Sandra Bernhard's actually kind of cool. Like this
Oh yeah. I stand by my comparison.
I got you. It makes no sense, but that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's anytime you see passive income or like just the whole notion that you can get wealthy without having to work for it or know anything is
Well,
that
I
should
just
be
feel like any real artist or any artist that, and it's no matter if they're successful or not, if they're telling you what they make a month and they're trying to tell you like tips and tricks,
yeah.
that's a scam. Like they're not like if I'm making that amount a month, I ain't telling nobody that.
No. And you're not spending your time on TikTok talking about it.
If
You're
I'm
like,
if I'm on TikTok, it's to show my stuff and that's it. I'm not going on
yeah,
like, yeah, like get the fuck out of here.
yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, like I said, I made the video, but like, and it got viewed a lot and everything, but I don't think anyone got the joke. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one I'm getting targeted or something. That's why I'm seeing these bullshit videos.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I don't
like this guy looks like a
know.
rube. He looks a little dumb. Let's feed him this on his algorithm. He seems like he's easily duped.
Yeah, TikTok has got a great algorithm, but it does not
I
detect
don't really
sarcasm.
I don't really see it on TikTok as much as more on Instagram. I see these like
Yeah.
shit. I've been seeing mostly on there. TikTok's algorithm's great because if you don't want to see something anymore, if you just keep swiping real quick and then you slow down on other stuff,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
just feed you that more. So like if you're like, I just want to see political stuff, all you have to do is like look
It's
at a couple
quick.
of them
Yeah.
and they'll show you. Like if you're like, listen, I don't want to see Sandra Bernhard on my TikTok feed all the time.
Yeah. Well, the worst is like occasionally I'll be scrolling through TikTok and then someone will ask me something or something will happen.
Joseph's TikTok's just girls brushing their teeth. It's really fun.
The ASMR.
It's really strange. I don't know. He's like, I don't know why I keep seeing this. I keep watching. Make sure to get the back. That's the thing. The dentists, they don't tell you to get the back. That's how they get your money. When
Oh
you pull
my
out
God.
the teeth that way. Always reach back. All right, good job.
Sure, I search for hashtags like flossing hottie, but
What? Yeah, I mean, just because I search these things out, it's a TikTok's algorithm. That's the thing. I'm not the one doing it. Just
Stupid
because I have
TikTok.
specific hashtags that I
Search,
use.
search for rushing babes once and you're marked for life. It's
Russian wives once and search Russian wives 10, 12, 15
no.
times.
Well, I'll tell you, and this was just like a couple weeks ago. I was scrolling and it went on one of those stupid like Karen videos where it's not even like a Karen, it's just like some random public freak out. And I put my phone down and the Karen video repeated like I don't know, like for several minutes. And
Yeah.
then for days, all I saw were these awful videos that were like just depressing and like public freak out. But then, like half of the people that were freaking out, it's like that's not even a Karen. That's just like someone in distress. Like so they like missed their flight and their mom's sick or something.
I mean,
Like
like
it's
not this idiot lady who's like, that motherfucker is not real. But like an
yeah,
actual person suffering.
yeah. Like this is like just exploitive, you know. So anyway, yeah, that's
But I
TikTok.
keep watching.
But I keep watching. God,
I don't know why TikTok keeps bringing panicking ladies on my feed, but
not a single one of them are brushing.
I don't question. I just watch.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it is true. It's like what is that old Nietzsche quote? Like when you look into the abyss also looks into you. That's like basically TikTok. That's like basically
I love that they're like, like TikTok steals your stuff. I'm like, so does Instagram. They all do.
man, that's the least of your worries on TikTok. That's like it's
Well, like what? I mean, what's they said spyware or something?
yeah. I don't know. I mean, like
I mean, isn't Instagram spyware also?
all I mean it's so much of it is
Facebook steals your fucking identity. Facebook
yeah,
fucking sells your identity.
yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
All right.
All
Well, what are
right.
we talking about this week, Joseph? Because
Well, we covered our talk through list, but we're gonna start with
oh, that's right, we did.
yeah
I
we're
got
gonna
lost in the abyss.
we're gonna start with the Marvel Variety ad and the ad, not the ad the article in Variety said basically Marvel Studios is in trouble and they had several different talking points. One of them was the first one I think they talked about was Jonathan Majors as kind of a franchise cornerstone, and that's iffy right now because
So
of
I guess
his
the rumor going around was that because Ant-Man didn't do well.
right.
It didn't. It's like the biggest. It's like one of their biggest bombs, and it
Yes.
was not well received. Even though he was well received, but like it doesn't matter because everything that's going on. But I would say if there's a character that is easily perfect for replacing him with a different actor, it's Kang.
Yeah.
You can replace Kang. I don't think he's that big of an actor that anyone's gonna care. Like as long as
Nah.
the actor is good. Like, why does Kang all of a sudden have a very thick Southern accent? Well,
Yeah.
surely believe
Right.
Capote.
You can't replace Kang with just anyone and it fly. But yeah, given the storyline that he's a variant, you could replace him with pretty much anyone, really. You know, I mean,
I just think it's so weird how they are with like they won't recast people like Star Wars. They won't dare recast. Like they recasted like Han, and in one movie that was technically a prequel, so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not really recasting. It's like
You had to
they
give him that
casted River Phoenix to be young Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
No one gave a shit. Like they were like, cool. But no one said, like, hey, he doesn't look like Harrison Ford. No one cared. Now
Yeah.
these days, everyone's like, I don't know, these like actors, like they put so much into investing into that it's like we can't change it. There's too much marketing material. It'll confuse the consumer. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but like I would like to see I wouldn't mind seeing Star Wars like the original characters in a post Return of the Jedi universe
You
where
would
they're younger, they're like not
yeah.
40 yet. Like I would like to see that. Find actors that can do it. I don't know. Like,
There's
yeah,
been
weird.
plenty of franchises. I mean, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like James Bond never had a problem swapping out James Bonds,
Yeah, but
you
I
know?
think, yeah, exactly. But that was like from the get go. So people were like trained at a early, but
Yeah,
like, like, oh, we can't have a new actor play Luke. But like, I don't know. Then don't use them at all. Then I don't know
right.
what to say. But like Robert Downey Jr., like, okay, we're gonna bring him back as Iron Man. Well, like, yeah, I think it's fine to bring him back during like Secret Wars. There's like a one off. But like at some point, if you want to have this character, you're gonna have to just cast someone younger. I don't want to see weird young AI Robert
No.
Downey Jr. They kind of did that in Civil War in the beginning. There's like a flashback thing.
Oh yeah,
And they
yeah.
did that. It looked good. I'm sure it probably doesn't look that good now, but like it looked good. The movie came out in 2016. Uh, but I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to just recast these people. But I don't. The rumor going around, one of the was, oh, because Ant-Man didn't do well, and Kang, that means Kang's a flop. We can't have him be the villain. Let's switch him out for Doctor Doom.
I've heard
And I'm
yes,
like,
that was in the
no, don't
article.
do that. You can't like I wouldn't mind Kang leading to Doctor Doom,
Sure, that'll work.
but it's gotta be like it's gotta work.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I thought we were gonna fight Kang. Kang was busy. I'm Doctor Doom. That'd be the best way to do
Yeah, but
it. I'm fighting you now. I'm Doctor Doom. What?
well, I think they keep
I'm
Kang. I mean,
Mimi.
they've built everything up to be, it's got to be some sort of multi-dimensional threat. Like, I mean, it can't just be,
Well,
everything is
Doctor
led
Doom
up to
time
Kang.
travels also. That's why it could
Mm,
work as well, but it's not the same. Kang, Doctor Doom's like not known for being that though. Like he can time
right.
travel. He has like, but it's not like on the same level as Kang. The problem with Ant-Man and the Wasp is if you read all the different decisions they were going to do originally, it's like you would have had a better movie. So it was going to be the original ending was supposed to be that Scott and what's her face, Van Dyne or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
the anti-vaxxer lady, get trapped in the quantumverse. That would have been the end,
Okay, yeah.
and then it would have been revealed the daughter trying to find him, and then looking at a file, whatever, on a computer, and it says, and it shows, it would have showed like all the like profiles of like all the potential young Avengers, which were
Oh, yeah,
like
okay.
America Chavez, America, like the different characters they've been slowly rolling out, like the younger
Right.
characters. What's her face from Hawkeye?
Well,
Um,
yeah, Kate Bishop.
yeah, like that would have been a sick scene. Why didn't
That
you
would have
not
been
do
cool.
that? Like, and then you could have. And the reason why they didn't want to trap him in the quantiverse is because that's how two ended.
Yeah,
It's different. It's a different situation, and it gives a
different.
reason to like well, people like you could say like, oh, do we need to have Ant-Man 4? No, you can have like them chill in the Quanverse for a while, and they don't come out until like Secret Wars,
Yeah,
like,
I was good. Marvel movies can like resolve plot threads in other movies.
yeah.
I mean, that's they can do that.
So the other complaint about that I heard from this variety thing is that like there's too much content, and I could
Yeah,
agree on that.
a
The
little
big
diluted.
problem, and I heard this people point this out, is that the failure mark. I think the pandemic fucked everything up. The pandemic fucked everything up. How they made the movies, the scheduling, the releasing of them. What's his face dying really changed a lot of plans. Like what's his
Oh
face?
yeah,
He was supposed to be
Chadwick
like
Boseman.
Chad Boseman was supposed to be like the cornerstone of phase 4 and 5. Like he was
Yeah,
supposed to be like the Iron Man. And that what a selfish prick.
yeah, right.
No, that's sad. But he had cancer. He had it for years. But I again not looking at it from I'm just looking at it from like what they probably had planned and how everything got thrown off. The 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 thing they didn't do, which is probably a failure part, was okay. You introduce Shang-Chi, you introduce She-Hulk, you introduce Moon Knight, you introduce Miss Marvel, you introduce the outcome of WandaVision, the outcome of Captain America, Winter Soldier. You introduce like all the outcomes from those shows and movies. there should have been like a new Avengers movie and
Yeah.
literally call it either like they could have called it like Secret Defenders. They could have called it literally the New Avengers. There needed to have been a team up movie in the end for
Yeah.
it to all kind of make sense. I think it's so scattered now.
It really is.
Like
It's all torn apart.
it
Like
is.
it's
It's a mess. Like I heard the Marvels. I want to see it. I hope it's good. It's sounding like it might not be. Not because it's all women. Like I think it's because
well,
supposedly it's not good. I want to see it. So who knows? Maybe it will be good. And there'll be a lot of big surprises in it. But and they're claiming that movie is supposed to be kind of like the thing that kind of circles back and makes phase four make a little
yeah.
sense. But the lack of like they should have built up like a villain. Maybe it didn't have to be Kang, could have been another villain, and they could have fought that villain in this like team up movie where you could have had all those characters from those shows and it would have been like a reward and made sense. Like, oh yeah, like yeah, I didn't care for the She-Hulk show, but you know she was fucking sick in the movie.
Right, right. No, that would have been good. And it would have made sense because when the Avengers came out after the first four standalone
Avengers
movies,
came out
right?
after two Iron Man movies, a Thor movie, and a Captain America movie.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, relatively
And the
early in
funny
the
thing is, except for Iron Man movies always did well, but like Captain America did okay, and Thor did okay.
right,
Everyone like has this like nostalgia and false history. Avengers was the one that made like the most money because it
right.
was first of its kind. And then like, but it like I said, I think they made a lot of mistakes. I think the budgets are way too big. They are overworking the artists. The artists like unionized or something, so they're probably.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, this is not in the Variety article, but I guarantee you that like Disney and other studios that like released a ton of movies this past summer that didn't do well. Indiana Jones cost like $300 million, didn't even
Yeah.
make its money back. The
Yeah. That's real
Flash
true.
cost God knows what the Flash cost, but everything that went on, I think the Flash was more than 300 million. It was like something insane. That didn't get any of its money back. Transformers cost a ton of money. Didn't really do that well. And then Five Nights at Freddy's comes out. The movie only cost $20 million. It made 130 million worldwide with the same day release on Peacock. Like, so we
Yeah.
watched it on Peacock. I didn't have to go to the theater to see it, but people still went to go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was all right. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of cool. Like Matthew Lillard was in it. I thought that was kind of a
Yeah.
stud cat, with him being in Scream and everything. Um, but they're probably like thinking that, like, wait, like, because a Marvel movie only made $130 million, it'd be considered a big fucking bomb.
Right. Yeah.
The studios are probably like, wait, what are we doing? Like, we don't need to be making these $200 million movies.
Yeah.
Like,
The
they're gonna want
costs
to take less risk.
the costs have gotten out of control with some of them. I think too, it is weird. Like
Shang-Chi did not need to have this. Like, I liked it. Did you watch Shang-Chi?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
But it didn't need to, it really did not need to have that mystical battle in the end with the
No.
dragons and demons. Like, save that for the sequel. Like, that, I would have been fine if the whole movie was like that subway fight. And you
Oh
probably could
yeah.
have made, now that movie did well. That movie made money, but it probably would have it could have made even more money, and they could have shaved off like $100 million by not having that last scene in it. Like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, so one of the examples is this movie Blade that I guess has been a shit show, where like
Okay.
the actor is like, "Fuck this! I don't even want to be in this anymore." Supposedly they fired the writers. The
Is this
script.
a remake of Blade? Is this
It's basically, well, Blade. Those Blade movies don't count in the MCU, so this would just be,
okay? Sure.
Blade in the MCU. And the joke wasn't the original script. It ended up being like Blade's like the fourth lead. Like, he's not even the main character of his own
Mm,
movie. Like, and but like a movie like that should not cost. Marvel, if they were smart, should be able to make that movie for less than $50 million.
yeah.
There's no reason to have that be a $200 million movie. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
not really.
Be a little fucking smarter. Do more practical effects. Like, do like you can. It's amazing. Like what you like when you see some of these movies and you find it costs like 30 million, and you see a
Right.
movie that costs 100 million. You're like, what?
Yeah,
30
where'd
million
that money
movie
go?
looks
Yeah.
better. And
Hmm.
it's so funny too, because sometimes these studios they'll hire these directors who made like that cheap movie that looked good, and they'll be like, "Oh, we can like if they can do it this for that, what could they do with this?" And the joke is when they have more money, it doesn't look better.
It gets more convoluted and yeah, more bogged down.
And it's
Um,
not and that art and that director they hired didn't you don't really see that director in that movie because it's following the same like cookie cutter formula.
yeah.
I'm fine. Like me personally, Marvel like everyone like compares the movies to like McDonald's. I'd say watch Loki though. Like Loki, we're gonna talk about in a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit. Like that's incredible. That doesn't look like other Marvel stuff. Like
No, it doesn't.
the Doctor Strange stuff, I think looks better. Like it doesn't look like other Marvel stuff. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
but I just think the reality is that they made too much stuff this year. I think this year for most movies, except for like Barbie and
Yep.
Across the Spider
Yeah.
Verse, Oppenheimer, this
Oppenheimer.
Freddy's movie, like a lot of movies didn't do well. So they're
Yeah.
probably freaking out. And they said that Marvel's movie is like on track to not do well.
I hope it does well. It does
It's
not
not
look.
gonna make a billion. The first one made $1 billion, but it's not gonna make that because people the Captain Marvel movie or whatever came out right or like a few months before Endgame.
Yeah.
Everyone thought that, but like all those movies were doing well, and a lot of movies did well after Endgame. It wasn't until really like this year that like people were like, like Thor: Love and Thunder was not well received. It was okay. It wasn't very good.
I thought it was real fun. I can see why it wasn't well received, but I thought it
Yeah,
was real fun.
it was fun, but it was also incredibly stupid. And I think a lot of people were like, didn't like how the villain was. They made too many changes. Regardless, I
Yeah.
think like you know, I don't know what it is. I think people have less money. They have less disposable income,
Yeah.
and they're gonna spend. And going to the movies is very expensive.
That's I think
Streaming services are starting to get more pricier.
yeah. I think people are strapped for cash. The theater is it's a real expensive outing if you do
It
it
really
right and
can
with a
be.
family.
It
Yeah.
can be really expensive. My son's like, "Oh, I want this." I'm like, "How about this? Do you really need to have this $10 Slurpee at the fucking movie
Yeah.
theater? Can I
Right.
just get you one for $1 that's gonna taste better after
Yeah.
the movie?"
No, that's it. My kid likes those the blue raspberry slushies or whatever. They're like $8, $9. Um and kids have some sort of weird moral aversion to sneaking candy in the theater. I'm like, oh, that's how you do it. It's
You're not supposed to bring that up in this podcast. You might want to edit that out. You just
well,
admitted to committing a crime.
it's
Yeah, against
um,
the
but like honestly, most of the theaters we go to now too serve like food and beer and wine and stuff, and so like it's easily $100 to go see a movie,
I
and
mean,
that's
again,
like
you don't have to do all that stuff, but even just going to the movie alone is expensive.
yes, true,
I take me and my son go to a movie and it's like a fucking matinee, still like $30.
yeah, it's crazy,
Just their standard screen. Like, so I mean, like that adds up. And that's not buying other shit on top of it. Like, so like if the movie sucks, like my wife watched what was it? I remember the director or not the producer of no, it was the CEO of Pixar was saying like what was it, Elemental or whatever came
oh
out.
okay, yeah,
Said like audience has been trained to just wait
yeah,
to watch it on Disney Plus. But you know what? It wasn't that good. It was like okay. It was an okay movie. It was a weird movie about immigrants and stuff like that. But it was like it reminded me of Zootopia. Like
oh
I
yeah,
already
yeah.
saw this already. It's Zootopia. Like
Zootopia was fun, but again,
I
that's
don't
like
know. Zootopia was great actually.
yeah, you stream that.
But I, what else did you read about in this article though?
The big talking point was Jonathan Majors. Then they were talking about a diluted and kind of convoluted series of like backstories and mythologies that you had to kind of piece together. And then the third thing, I didn't think this was like a great criticism. They said that the new Marvel movies have failed to create stars. Like the old Marvel movies had a bunch of like bankable stars like Robert Downey Jr. And then
Well, Robert Downey Jr. was not bankable until he did Iron Man.
yeah, but he was a name.
Yeah,
People
he
knew
was already
him,
well known. He was
you know.
established.
But then they also made a bunch of people famous. You know, it was like a mix of like Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr. were already famous, but then they started to make stars. You know, like and I could be wrong here, but I don't think Chris Evans was a huge name before Captain America. I don't think Mark.
Was
I
the
mean,
Human Torch.
Mark.
Definitely made him being Captain America definitely made him a bigger star.
Yeah.
Same thing with Chris Hemsworth. I'm
Yep.
sorry. The remake of that was it Wolverine Red Dawn did not make him a star.
Well, he was also in Cabin
Again, not a movie that made him into a star.
Right. Yeah. Know? But that was the final criticism, is that the old Marvel movies used a
that's
mix.
a lie, because what's his face is becoming a pretty big actor. The guy who played Shang-Chi, he was a big part in the new Barbie movie.
Simu. Oh, okay. So I have no idea.
You know what? A lot of this shit's like politics. They mince their words. They say what they want to fucking say to craft a narrative. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Moon Knight has freaking what's his face in it?
Oh yeah,
Oscar Isaac. He's a fucking star.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean,
that was Shang-Chi has become a bigger star because of Shang-Chi and getting into bigger roles. So I think a lot of this stuff is like a load of shit. I will say where Marvel fucked up is they should have had like for
a team up,
like a team up movie or something to like kind of reward people, and that should have been and that could have been the end of Phase 4 instead of doing like I remember like Wakanda Forever came out. They're like, oh, that's the end of Phase 4. I'm like, okay, like right. How?
Yeah, what did it resolve?
It's like it's not like Kang, or he who was not even referred to as Kang yet until he was He Who Remains in the first season of Loki. He doesn't show up or get mentioned in anything else. He's not mentioned in Doctor Strange. Yeah. He's not mentioned in Multiverse of Madness. That would have been a great place to mention Kang. Like he could. Well, you have to have Doctor Strange goes, who's Kang?
Yeah, just
Spider-Man
even
like movie came out. Yeah. That Spider-Man movie was a huge hit. The last one,
Far From Home.
Yeah, that one was a huge hit. That was like an event movie. And you got, they brought back the original Spider-Man too.
Yeah, that was great.
But like, I think a lot of these articles, the reality is, if these movies were making more money or being more well received, this article wouldn't exist.
Oh, sure, yeah, that's true.
I think like I said, if you look at like that dude's resume, Simu, who I'm saying his name wrong probably. He was I like to remember he was in the other two. He was dating the mom.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And you think about referring to him as the Marvel movie guy?
Yeah, gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
no, but he was just in the biggest movie of the year. Barbie made like over $1 billion. What the fuck are they talking about? Like that's what I mean. These articles are like so full of shit. Like everyone knows that what's going on with Jonathan Majors is not good for the long run of
right
being Kang. That's just a fact. And even if he comes out of this clean, Marvel might consider maybe we shouldn't have this guy be the linchpin.
The franchise.
The 3 fucking phases, like maybe we can't have him be the face on all the marketing material.
Yeah.
Regardless if he's found innocent or guilty or whatever. At the end of the day, Thanos was a big purple monster.
Right. Yeah.
I think the other reality of the situation is, I think all these Marvel things, I think the whole multiverse thing and everything, I think it's going to go over people's heads. It's like too convoluted. It's going to be hard to follow. At the end of the day, Endgame, Infinity War, it's just, here's a guy going on a quest to find all these MacGuffins so he can pull off the ultimate MacGuffin in the end, which is, where they have. And the other heroes are like, we got to team up in different ways.
It was so simple and straightforward. Yeah.
And then the next movie is where it got a little weird with the whole time travel. Like, whoa, this is a little crazy. We didn't expect this. And then, but in the end of the day, it was still like, all right, everybody's here. Let's fight the MacGuffin. And I think now it's like it's going to be really hard to track. I think like time travel and all these multiverse and
And the
it's going to be
stakes get so abstract. It's like,
yeah.
well, if
And
they
you had
destroy
to
that Earth,
watch
is it a big deal? Or
because at the end of the day, if you watched Infinity War and
yeah,
you didn't see like Guardians 2 or like Thor the Dark World or you missed Captain America 1. It didn't matter.
yeah, you were still fine.
Even if you didn't even see Age of Ultron, you would have been fine.
True, yeah,
Like it all makes sense. But like it if they had a movie that teamed up all the new characters from Disney Plus and the current heroes that are still existing, I think this would be a different situation. They would be able to like you can't put out a Marvel movie and expect end game numbers all the time.
no, it's just not sustainable.
Now, if you make a movie that could be like Endgame, like the Spider-Man No Way Home, where you have all the Spider-Man show up, that movie did incredibly well. It was also like the first like real not post-pandemic, but like a lot of people were getting vaccinated at that point.
Yeah, it was one of the first big event movies after the pandemic.
Right. So I feel there's a lot of like they're trying to create a fire when there isn't one. I don't
Yeah,
know. I just think there's a couple of different things going on here. They're going to see movies that cost less money doing better. Like look at Indiana Jones, and the movie costs like over $400 million.
yeah,
It's not it's a business at the end of the day. I don't think people are like in the end of the day, it's a business, and how much you put into it and how much you get back is like a big fucking
yeah,
deal.
and it's pretty objective. I mean, it's not like you either made money on it or you didn't. So
And that's as much as Disney makes all these grand announcements, and Kevin Feige goes on and be like, "Yeah, we're gonna make fucking Dazzler movie, and we're gonna make
yeah,
Leapfrog the movie. We're gonna do that." Everyone's like, "Yeah, I remember that character in a comic I read once. Cool. Like, I'll be there on opening day. I can't wait." And we're gonna make an Echo series. Who?
yeah.
And we're
Honestly,
gonna make an Agatha Harkness series. Why?
in 26, 26.
Yeah, why? I mean, and that's the other thing too. I think they're pointing out, like, you know, like, are they really gonna just be like, oh, we gotta bring back all the Avengers now? But you still have to build upon new
Yeah,
heroes. That's why I
right.
said, like, all the decisions made in the final cut of Ant-Man sound all terrible. Like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have had your villain that's supposed to be the next big bad get defeated by ants. Now I know they were super
Yeah.
powered ants, but that's not how it's perceived by people. It's like
No, the average viewer is not going to see it that way.
you got beat by ants, and then he got beat by Ant Man. Like it should have been like he gets away.
Yeah,
He gets away in the end.
that
He
would have made
wins,
much more sense.
and then they're trapped, and then Cassie Lang's, you know, the cutscenes, her, you can have her meeting like Kate Bishop.
Yeah, yeah, that
Hey,
actually
we
would have
should
been
start
really
a
good.
team. Hey, maybe we should start a team.
Mm.
I saw what you did in New York.
Right. Yeah,
Oh
they needed,
yeah, I
well,
saw
they
what you
needed
did in
like,
San Francisco.
they would have needed like a Samuel L. Jackson, like Nick Fury character that's basically like, I'm putting together a team. They would have needed like,
It could have just ended with her. Like,
yeah. Oh,
she's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
shit, my dad's trapped in my dad and my I don't know, surrogate mom is trapped in the Quantumverse. And then yeah, you could have had like a scene and that would have made everyone crazy. Like, oh
Yeah, that would have
shit.
been good.
Like
That would have been
something
good.
that would lead to a team up. And I don't understand. They know how to do this.
Yeah.
There's like I feel like there was like all these mistakes. Like you WandaVision, which was amazing, and then you put out a movie that just like ignores what happens in one.
That
Like,
was
and it's not like
baffling.
it ignores, but it doesn't. It's weird. It's like the people who made Multiverse of Madness. It was like a word of mouth, like
Yeah,
what happened in the end of WandaVision?
they just read the Wikipedia entry.
Not
Like,
even. Like I said, they read like a tweet from someone who didn't even see the movie. They didn't watch
yeah.
the series. They're like, yeah, the woman, she got trapped in a TV, did witch stuff. All
Yeah.
right, that's all we
Ugh.
need. Let's run with it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess I mean, this is like a little bit of a transition, but it's kind of in the same ballpark. We did watch episode 5 of Loki, which seems like it's trying to still pull all those pieces of the plot together from a bunch of different movies and shows. Um,
Well, I mean, how it's focused mostly on Loki. I don't know. What do you mean by?
well, the Kang, it's like the
Well,
first show that we get where Kang is
yeah, but
like,
it's not even Kang still. He's like a younger version of he
yeah,
remains, and he wasn't even in this episode. I heard the other problem too is here's the other issue. Supposedly the next episode, from what
okay,
I heard, I don't know how it ends, but it ends in a way that defines Kang more as the main villain as a threat.
ugh,
And they said that creates a bigger problem too because of the writer's strike and the actor's strike. They didn't have time to go back and rewrite the movie, create a new scene. Now, I would say that's not the actors or writers' fault. That's fucking
yeah.
his fault. Pay your fucking writers and pay your fucking actors, you cheap fucks.
Well,
Yeah, those people were like Disney. There was an announcement today or something the other day. So like Disney's gonna buy Hulu for like $8
oh, I
billion,
saw that. Yeah,
and everyone's like, "Wait, what?" They're crying like poverty, or they can't fucking pay the writers a half a percentage more residual that they can. Yeah, how do you think they buy Hulu?
right.
eight
Yeah,
billion dollars.
that's
How do you think they do that? They do that by not paying people. Like, it's like, hey, my boss showed up with a Bugatti, and he said if I
right.
work real hard, I could get another one next year.
Yeah, basically. Uh, oh.
It
Well,
was good. Everyone, if I think there should be like a term created for this episode, like time spaghetti.
yeah, that effect was real cool.
Everybody turns into like spaghetti boys.
Strings, yeah, it's like they're turning into like time strings.
Cats going crazy. They're like,
I liked it
hard.
a lot. I understand. This was a weird one for me because I kind of understood what was happening. Like nothing about the episode's too complicated, but it still left me kind of pretty in the dark as to where it was all going. I mean,
I
you
think,
had
yeah, go ahead. What?
no, you had said that like clearly they're setting up Loki to be he who remains, like the one.
That he is clearly going to be the next. He's going to be the time master or whatever in the end, because like in the end, when everything was falling apart, he did something,
Yeah,
and everybody was back, and he was like, "I did that" or whatever, and everything kind of, and then it ended. That was like the
right.
clip, whatever. So in this episode, it's like a weird one. It's crazy too how much effort they put into this episode. It begins in the '60s in Alcatraz
Yeah.
with like the goofy guy that works behind the desk, like that dude,
Yep.
that dork. Like, I just thought that was funny. I was like, wow, they really put a lot into that. That's like more than like most scenes of Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Ever tell you about the time I went to Alcatraz?
Oh, like in real life?
Yeah, not.
Yep.
I mean, not. I never
Not
went
as a
there.
yeah, not
It
as a
closed down, I think,
convict, but
since a long time ago. I know
no.
they have.
Well,
They have. If you're ever in San Francisco, I highly recommend you go to Alcatraz.
yeah.
Awesome tour. It was great. And they would talk about like how hard it was to escape Alcatraz, even though
Right.
those guys,
Well,
because it's like the waters are insanely choppy, and I guess there's like sharks infested or
yep.
something.
Yeah.
And in the end of the tour, they were talking and they were telling the story. This is a story about these convicts that escaped, and we don't know what happened to them. They're either dead or
Right.
they got away.
Yeah.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" This is like the tour guide's like talking all this, and he's like, "What do you guys think? Do you think they survived or perished?" And this one guy raises this, "I he survived or whatever," and he's like, "What? Why do you say that?" And he goes, "Sheer determination." To this day, me and my wife would bring it up all the time when I was watching She was watching Loki with me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm trying to watch it for the podcast.
All
And
right.
we're watching the guys escaping. I said, you know how they're gonna get away, right? This is the only way to get out of
Did
escape
she
the
remember?
Alcatraz, live. Sheer determination. She's like, I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say. And I was gonna
Ooh,
say it. Say the catchphrase, and the vice
right,
president
say
dies.
it.
Sheer determination.
Well, I think yeah, I clearly sheer determination, but
Of course, you
I
don't
think
escape Alcatraz without it. Duh.
so. If Loki becomes He Who Remains, is that how like Kang escapes into to create havoc? Is that he needed someone to take his place? Like,
I have no fucking clue.
yeah, see, that's where I'm at with this episode. I liked it a
Something
lot. I
something
don't have any.
happens in the end of the episode though, where it is established that Kang is the real villain here, and as cool as that would be, because of everything going on with this actor, it creates a problem. And like I
Yeah,
said, the if the writer's strike didn't happen and the actor strike didn't happen, there's probably a really good chance that they would have rewrote the end of the show,
yeah,
that it would have a different outcome. Like
yeah. That makes sense.
Danny DeVito shows up. He's the new Kang. Hey, I'm Kang.
Well, I get it because like in this episode, Loki is basically there's that scene at the bar, him and Sylvie are at the bar, and Sylvie's like Loki says to Sylvie, "You're being selfish," and Sylvie's like, "Well, of course I'm being selfish." And then she says, "Well, why do you want to like reinstitute the TVA?" And Loki's like, "I'm lonely. I want my friends back." And she's like, "Well, you're being selfish too." So like
Yeah, exactly.
now that we have like it in our heads that Loki misses people and is lonely, what could be like the more what could be a more noble sacrifice than for Loki to kind of voluntarily become He Who Remains? Because that's like absolute loneliness. But he'd be
Yeah.
doing it to save his friends, so it sets up like a perfect redemption tragedy
And
type of
it's
deal
crazy
for
too that
him.
this Loki that we see in the show is not the Loki that we saw in Dark World, Ragnarok, Infinity
Right.
War. Like, this is the Loki right after the end of the first Avengers movie.
Yeah, he escapes in that hallway.
Yeah, when they're trying to
Yeah,
like get the Tesseract.
right.
Escapes. Yeah, it's awesome. I remember watching that in the movies and being like, oh, that's gonna fuck everything up.
Yeah,
And they announced the Loki series, and I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. And the whole thing with time variance and everything.
yeah,
Um, that's another thing too. That's another reason why they need like a team up movie. Because what's great about like Endgame and all the other Avengers movies was they were good. Not just were they were good setup movies.
yeah.
Like, it was a good way to set up all the characters to individually go off on their spin-off or their own movie. Like,
Yeah, it worked fine on its own, but it was like
they
a
had like 6 backdoor pilots in the movies.
exactly, yeah. You could spin it off, it tied things together, it spun new things off. Um, just like storytelling wise, they were really useful in that way. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Missed opportunity. But again, I really think that I really think the pandemic really messed up how they
Yeah.
made movies for a while. And like, well, besides it being this horrible tragedy that killed millions of people
Right,
worldwide.
yeah.
But think about the Marvel universe, guys. Come on. We were denied a team up movie that they probably weren't going to make anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think the young Avengers would probably be the most logical next team up.
Well,
But
they've been building up. That was the other cool thing about all these Disney Plus shows, is that they've been building it up. WandaVision, they introduced the 2 kids.
yep.
They're good when they're older or become older. They will be 2 of the characters on this in the Young Avengers: Kate Bishop, America Chavez, and Multiverse Madness.
Young Loki.
Yeah, yep. There's even what is it? The old Captain America that you find out
Oh yeah, the
black
Iron
dude is
Patriot.
Grant. No, what in the Captain America when the Falcon Winter Soldier series. Remember, we're introduced to the
Yeah.
forgotten Captain America.
And his son or grandson isn't he gonna be like Iron Patriot or
No,
something?
that actually the funny thing about no Iron. Okay, you're mixing up like three different characters. No, he becomes like Patriot or whatever. Iron Lad was another character in Young Avengers, and the crazy thing about Iron Lad is that he was a young variant of Kang. It was revealed that was like the big
Oh yeah, you
cliffhanger of
mentioned
like
that once before.
the
Yeah.
first issue. Yeah, that could have been kind of cool too. You could have done that in the series where it's
Hmm.
like and then it's a young version of Kang, whatever, and that would just make things all kinds of
Right.
crazy. I think again, at the end of the day, as cool as I thought, like, oh, Kang could be a pretty cool movie villain. I just think it's gonna go like it ain't gonna. How they say this? It's not gonna play in the
Right.
Midwest.
Won't play in Peoria.
Won't play in the
Uh
middle of the country. Those dumb fucks. You think they're gonna put down Hee Haw to watch? You think those dumb chuckle fucks are gonna?
yeah.
You think those
Yeah.
cousin fuckers are gonna understand what Kang is?
Seems unlikely.
These people are too busy sending money to Jerry Falwell every
Oh
month. Sure,
God.
Jerry Falwell's been dead for like that's not the
They
point.
probably still are.
Yeah, they probably still are. Sending my monthly check to Jerry
Oh
Falwell.
God.
He's gonna
Um
save us from the sinners in New York.
woof. Wow.
Yeah, well, yeah, this was one of the best parts in this episode. Well, I guess you get to see really who these characters were in their
Yeah.
real world before they were taken. And it's crazy because it's like they all kind of exist in some parts of the present,
Mhm.
but they live for eons in the TVA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like Mobius, you find out. I thought maybe it would have been earlier, but no, he existed. They show 2022, and he's a freaking. He's a what do you call it?
Jesse salesperson.
Which is hysterical because all Mobius talked about was how great jet skis were, and
Yeah.
he didn't realize subconscious. And he's a salesman, so subconsciously, Mobius in season one has been trying to sell Loki a jet ski.
right. Yeah. The show's really good like that though. And all the little pieces kind of fit together. The design aesthetics are great, like the little kind of retro futurism.
I thought
Um
the one woman on the TV, I keep forgetting her name. She's the one who kind of became like she ended up taking like Ravona's position
yeah,
that and it was revealed she was like a doctor, which
right.
I think kind of shows maybe like empathy and everything like that. I think
Yeah.
and I thought it was interesting because it took place in 2012 New York, and that's the year Loki with the
Oh yeah.
Chitauri attack. So I thought maybe when she sees him in the hallway, I thought it was gonna be like she knows who he is because
Right.
the
She's seen him
fucking
before.
guy who attacked the freaking fucked up New York. Like, um, so I don't know. Maybe they'll go into that more or something. But then you find out like OB's like this failed writer and like
Yeah.
um that one dude who escaped Alcatraz in the early 60s.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was weird and random. But he's trying to get the team back. It's almost like he's doing like it's almost like a not quantum leap, but he's going through those time areas where these people live, and he's trying to get them recruit them back, and they have like
Yeah.
no
Trying to pull
memory.
them all
Everything's like
together.
yeah, everything's all screwed up. But the best is when he's talking to Obi, and then he's talking to Mobius, and Obi shows up in the portal. And he's like, "Wow, you made that really quick," and he's like, "Nah, it took me like." Quick to you, it took me 18, 19 months to make this. I lost my wife and my job. It's like really dark.
yeah.
And then I love the whole like Mobius is like, Loki's trying to convince him to come back, and he's like a dad. He has two fucking kids.
Yeah.
Like, he's like this, and he's like, you can come with me. You could always come home and see your kids. And he's like, they'll still be here. And he's like, yeah, but not to me. I'll be gone.
Right.
Like all this time, like
You'll have lived all that life without them. Even if it's just the blink of an eye to them, it won't be for you, you know?
right. You're not gonna
Um
be like, Dad, what's for dinner? And you're like, I fought in the Temple Wars
right.
500 years, kid. You think I fucking know what time? You think
well,
I even remember who you are?
yeah.
I had 6 families throughout 100 years.
It is weird because like not so much during this season. Or they did mention it very specifically once, but like Loki is, like they said, a god, not like in the literal sense, but he lives so long. He's got these unique abilities. He he still doesn't 100% get humans. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
what it is to be a human. And I don't think that's like they're not beating us over the head with it, and it's not like
And he was a
necessarily.
villain too, on top of it.
Yeah, yeah. But he still doesn't get it, but now he's getting like he doesn't want to be alone, and the irony is that he's probably going to wind up very alone.
Yeah.
uh
The Sylvie thing is interesting too. Like I said, like her being like, yeah, man, I'm selfish. But you know, she goes off and it's like she's just living a simple life. She's working at McDonald's. That's
yeah,
after McDonald's. Uh, and then she just goes to the record store to chill with that cool
yep,
guy.
yeah,
And but then once the fucking records started turning into spaghetti, that's when she was like, oh shit, I
right,
can't be selfish because there's not gonna be anything left.
right. There won't be anything left.
Yeah.
So, hmm.
Um, but yeah, the endings like kind of revealed like Loki was the one who stopped, was able to like kind of make sure time didn't unravel. And I don't know, but it's a good show. It looks good production wise.
Yeah,
It's still like I think their best show, just from like a
probably, yeah.
just from a design standpoint, like
And consistency of quality. There haven't been any episodes of Loki, maybe episode 4 of last season. There haven't been any episodes of Loki
I
where it
remember
was
there was like
like,
an episode you didn't like. We talked about it.
I think it was episode 4. It just didn't do much. Like nothing really happened.
Nah, I think I know what was it the one with like him and Sylvie talking and
Yep,
everything? That
yeah,
might have
and
been
everything.
episode. I think that was episode 3.
Okay, that could have been I would just remember everything was fucking
I
purple.
thought that
Like,
was a fine episode. But that's fine. You can disagree. Just because
well,
I have better taste than you and I understand the
I
lore better.
I think this has been just such a great show. It's weird that it's been so great over 2 seasons. I mean, there was no.
I wonder how well it's doing review wise. But again, it's like I think the problem too at Marvel, going back to like this article, whatever.
Yeah,
Of course, like, oh yeah, look at this article. Like, let's write an article. It's talking about the failure and how they have to go back and beg Scarlett Johansson to come back or something. Like, oh yeah, you're gonna get people to click on Variety now who never fucking read it,
yeah,
even if the half of the stuff is exaggerated and bullshit. Like if I was like one of the stars of the movie, they're like, they're not creating stars, and I'd be like, oh, fuck, my agent's like constantly calling me. What the fuck are you talking about,
right,
Variety?
yeah.
Uh, the I don't even know what the fuck I was gonna say. Oh, the reality is that the pandemic just everybody was home
It did.
watching Disney
Yeah,
Plus. It was new. All these Marvel shows were new. By the time
yep,
you get to oh, I can't believe there's fatigue. You mean after like the 12th show, people like were a little tired and they didn't care about like a spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off? That happens
yeah.
in all TV. How
Ano-
many
Another weird thing is that like it's perfectly okay and almost to be expected that someone might like Moon Knight and then not like She-Hulk.
all
You
right.
know what I mean? Like because they're so different. It's kind of uncommon that people like me and you might like both of them, but I think if you're just really into Marvel or superhero stuff in general, you're gonna like that kind of thing. But like the average person who's not a huge comic fan, it would be weird for them to like Moon Knight and She-Hulk
I
equally.
would say one of the only ones to like maybe connect the MCU a bit was She-Hulk
Yeah.
because connected what happened in Shang-Chi
Yep.
with like the Abomination and Wong
Yeah. Yeah.
or Wongers. uh,
Yeah.
uh, and like I thought it did a good job of like kind of connecting. It was the only thing to reference what happened in the internals. It was on the news, like giant
Yeah.
in the Antarctic. Like
Right. Yeah.
it was the only one to like be like a little bit of like a linchpin or whatever. But
Hmm.
like, no, you didn't have to watch any of this shit to like
Nah.
really understand. Like the Marvels, I think the problem is, yeah, you need to go. I mean, do you have to watch Miss Marvel to enjoy the Marvels? I mean, it might help, I
Mm.
like that show though. I thought that was one of their good ones. I enjoyed it.
It was fine.
Miss
Yeah.
Marvel?
Oh, Miss Marvel. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Eternals.
No,
Yeah,
Eternals was not good. No, that
Miss
movie.
Marvel was good. I thought it was real good. I think I don't know that it ended super well, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was real good. Honestly, I liked it most in the first few episodes when she was like in high school and a lot of the scenes were in high school. Once
And
they
she did. There was
traveled,
a lot of that, like Spider-Man,
yep,
Homecoming, with like the
yes,
drawings and stuff. There was a lot of like kind of fun little thing elements added to that.
yeah, I like that a whole lot. When they
Yeah.
went to what country? Did they go to Iran or what country
No,
did
I
they
think it
go
was
to?
Pakistan because it was that whole.
Pakistan.
It was
That's
supposed to
right.
be. She goes in the past, and it's supposed to be like, and it's all like a loop. She
Yep.
goes in the past, and it's supposed to be like, hey, I learned a thing. I didn't know that Pakistan, in Pakistan and India were like basically split into two countries.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Pac,
that. I learned that from Miss Marvel.
I used
Thanks,
to teach.
thanks for educating people.
I
Disney
used to
Plus.
teach history, and that was a big unit. Is when India split into three different countries, and I would have loved to have been able to like reference Miss Marvel for that lesson, but like
I don't know. Kids, just go watch Miss Marvel. They talk about
yeah.
it.
Well, I was good. So anyway, the third thing we were going to talk about with this was the I got around to watching Across the Spider-Verse, which is on Netflix now.
Yeah, they just premiered it, and I got to rewatch it. I saw it in the theater. Um, I mean, I liked it. I can't lie. I'm not gonna lie and say my face was glued to it the second time I watched it, just because I'm home and I was
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
stuff. But like, uh, the animation's incredible. There's a lot
It's
of cool little techniques, a
yeah,
lot more than the first one. There's a cliffhanger.
yeah.
Here's the other cliffhanger. We don't know when the third movie's ever gonna get made.
Right. If
It was
yeah.
supposed to come out like next March,
Mm,
and then the writer's strike happened, and then the actor strike happened, and they were like, "Yeah, this is postponed indefinitely."
yeah.
Like, how? First of all, if you're making a two-part movie
You got
and
yeah,
you're a big studio and you're making a two-part, you're okay. The first movie was a massive success, and you want to turn into a trilogy.
right.
You make the second and third the same fucking time.
Yeah.
You
That's
make
that's
them the same fucking time so that they're ready to go. Because it's not really a gamble at that point because the first one was such a monster hit.
yeah. You're right, especially if it's episodes 2 and 3 of a series and film them at the same
I mean,
time.
like The Matrix, I remember that. Like the first movie
Yeah,
was a huge hit. Then there was like a gap. It was like 4 or 5 year gap.
yeah,
But they were smart to release those last two movies literally months. Like it was like 6 months apart or something.
yeah. I remember seeing both of them in the theater. Um, I thought Across the Spider Verse was awesome. I think that I don't know what the name for it was, but like the art design, the cinematography, the way it was put together
The
was
animation, everything,
just
techniques,
great.
everything
It,
crazy.
it was so good. It felt like panels from a comic book. I mean, it just everything worked for me
I
real
like
well.
the you like I love the dirtbag middle aged Peter Parker, Spider
Yeah,
Man. The one
yeah,
now he's wearing like a robe. I don't understand that. Like, why do you? And then he has his baby with him, which is great. And I love that the baby is has a sewn like a knitted Spider Man mask. It's super
yeah,
cute.
yeah. All the little
I
touches
still
were
have a
great.
hard time the Spider Woman character who's pregnant. I just feel like the part when she gets like slammed onto a bus, and I'm like, oh
Yeah, I that seemed like it unnecessarily weird to me. Um, even
she was
like
fine.
when she first shows up, she's like doing wheelies on a motorcycle and stuff. And
Yeah.
uh, anyway, I thought it was great. I loved it. I do agree with you. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it again. You know, like
I
uh,
mean, I liked it. If maybe like before the third one comes out,
yeah.
if when I'll watch it
If
just to catch up.
if my daughter wants to watch it, I'll
It
definitely watch it with her.
it's not like the story like I'm gonna forget. It's like he and so the whole spoilers, whatever. You find out there's this villain named Spot, and what I liked about Spot is that first of all he's just like kind of a joke of a character from the
Yeah,
old Spectacular Spider-Man comics. He shows up here and there. He's like a teleporter. He literally like each spot is like a
Yeah.
dimension. They definitely like go into overload with his character though. He's like becomes like a god in the end of the movie. It's
Yeah.
insane. Like I love the art style, how it just breaks down to like ink. It's literally just like white and black. The art style in the
Yeah.
end, like
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
like, uncolored or anything like that.
Real raw.
Uh, did you like when spoilers, Donald Glover showed up? Actual Donald Glover?
Yeah, I thought I, stuff like that can be a little stunty, you know.
Well, do you know why it makes sense though?
Why does it make sense?
He was in Homecoming. He has a small part in Homecoming. He shows up a couple scenes, and his name is he's the character who would become the Prowler. He's in a
Oh,
couple of
okay,
scenes,
yeah.
and he even name drops his cousin. No, his nephew. He says my nephew in the movie, and but he never showed up again. He didn't show up in
Okay.
Far From Home or the one that took place in Europe.
Yeah,
I hated that
yeah.
one. I got to see it again. I didn't like that one. I felt like, okay, now you got to send him on like a European vacation. I feel like
It did seem like European
it's
vacation.
weird. It's like why all these other stories now get forgotten. Like, all these things were introduced in the first movie. The guy who becomes the Prowler, played by Donald Glover. The guy who was going to be Scorpion. All these stories, this guy got like they just like kind of ignored it. And in the third movie, they went to go do like you know, a weird like reunion with all the other Spider-Man and Spider-Man villains. So all these like stuff that was established in that first Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland,
Yeah.
which is kind of forgotten. They're
Hmm.
on that same. Do you remember there was like a meme during Game of Thrones soon now? It was called like the boat of forgotten plots.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
all these like eventually finally by like the last season or two, some of these characters came back. But I just
Did get
remember it
yeah.
was like around season 4 or 5, it was like this boat of like just like all these plots that just
Went nowhere. Yeah.
never got resolved or anything. It's like lost also. So Donald Glover being in that little scene, it wasn't just really a stunt. He
That makes
is
sense. Yeah.
he's that character, just they never did anything with him
Oh.
because
Yeah.
they just forgot to build off of like the first movie, really.
Mm.
Because it's like you introduce the character, and then what do? You kill him off in
Yeah.
Infinity War. Therefore, yeah, he doesn't age, but he comes back 5 years later. It's actually kind of weird when you think about it.
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you like Oscar, you like Spider-Man 2099?
Yeah. 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 Um, I don't know much about that or the Spider Society or anything. I'm not like super into those, but I liked everything about this. I
You
think
don't need to. I mean, it's pretty much
yeah, it seems self-explanatory. You know, I mean, like
in the first
they
movie you were introduced to like that there was a multiverse and there was
mhm.
like six of them. And then in this one you see like 1,000 of them.
Yeah, yeah. It
Like
was just
the
real.
cowboy that rode a horse. The horse had a spider mask on it too. So like, why does it have a
Yeah, yeah. It was just real fun and real good. And I don't know. I like movies like this a whole bunch. You know, I mean, it was so well done. I thought so. I thought it was really good.
Justin, what didn't you like about it?
Well, gosh, honestly, it was a little long. It was
It
like,
is. It definitely is padded. I feel like you could lose 20 minutes.
yep, yeah, it was. I want to say like halfway through it, I was like, this does not feel even halfway over. I looked down and it wasn't, and I think it was like 2 hours and 20 minutes total. Which isn't even that crazy of a running time, but just felt like this could have been a really tightly developed 90-minute, maybe 100-minute show.
Movie.
So that I guess would be my one complaint. And it's not even a big complaint. It's just like I'll bet you this could have been paced more tightly.
Well,
So
things I liked about it, I liked how the villains tied into the first movie. Like Miles Morales' actions created Spot.
yep, yeah,
Him fuck, and the fact that I like the whole like he's not the one. Like he's an accident. He screws everything up. His existence screws everything up because that spider was not from his dimension. That spider was supposed to bite
yeah,
so in the end of the movie, it's kind of cool. The web of whatever that weaves him into it. Supposedly he thinks he's going home because it's based on the spider that bit him and not really by him. So he gets sent to the earth where you find out his dad died and his uncle, who's the Prowler, is still alive. He was a bad guy in the first movie. And then you find out that there is a Miles and he's not very nice.
Yeah.
And that Miles, who was supposed to become the Spider-Man of that universe, was ended up becoming the Prowler, because in Miles' universe there was a Spider-Man that existed in the beginning of the movie and in the first movie, and you find out that it's Miles' fault why that Spider-Man died. Like, so you could see why Spider-Man 2099, who he's a little gruff,
yes, quite
gruff on the edges. He is, from the big picture, he is right. Miles will just keep fucking things up. His existence.
He's a kid, yeah.
Well, yeah, kids suck. All right. I mean, like, we can all agree kids are horrible.
Well, I mean, aside from being,
it's not
like,
that he's a kid. It's because he's not supposed to be a Spider-Man. He was bit by a spider from another universe, so he fucks up like the equilibrium of the Spider-Verse. He's not supposed to be Spider-Man. He's the reason why that Spider-Man was not supposed to die, or at least. And then, like, they go to that Spider-Man, they go to meet Spider-Man India, and they save that captain's life. The father of, like, Spider India's, like, girlfriend. He was supposed to die. I love they talk about these canon events of Captain. Was it Gwen Stacy's dad getting killed?
Yeah, Captain Stacy.
Canon event. And I love it's so ridiculous. They even mentioned the comic that the captain died. It was like Amazing Spider-Man 90. And I'm like, this is so weird. And then, like, so he's just screwing everything up. Like, even though all these universes are crazy and you got like a guy riding a horse with a spider mask on it, it still follows they said there's still these, like, point of
departures or something
that happen in all the universes. That's why I thought it was cool going back to Loki. In Loki episode, the last season, when he meets all the Lokis and he's talking to the older Loki played by Richard E. Grant. And his Loki, it tells he went through the same thing. He faked getting killed by Thanos, though.
Right.
Like, so all these events still, even though these Lokis come from different universes and have, like, different outcomes in some weird ways, they still follow certain paths, or the timeline gets all fucked up. And then that Spot character in the end of Across the Spider-Verse, he's like a deity in the end. It's crazy. Like,
that was a little weird too. I don't know. I think, I'm like still kind of thinking about what you said about a lot of this being out of sorts, because he never should have been there. Like, he wasn't supposed to be who he is.
Yeah, that spider was brought in from different universe.
Yeah, I still think some of it is that he is a kid. Like, he doesn't appreciate the gravity of it. He doesn't really help.
Well, I think it's not just a kid. I mean, like, I think most adults. It's kind of like the same thing with, like, Loki talking to Sylvie, and he's saying you're being selfish, and Sylvie's like,
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I want some fucking free will. But the joke was at the end of the episode, when everything got turned into time spaghetti, she was like, oh, maybe my free will,
right?
my free will needs to take, like, a little bit of backseat for a minute.
Yeah, that is funny. Huh.
All right. Well, yeah, I enjoyed it. It kind of sucks. I hope that eventually by the end of the year they announce, like, depending on, with the writer's strike over, I feel like, I don't know, maybe they didn't record the voices yet. I have no fucking clue. I think it's weird. Who knows? Maybe they don't have anything lined up. And they're like, we're just going to make you wait an extra year for the movie to come out. We're not going to tell you now. You know what I mean? Like, because there's going to be less content because of the writer's strike. So they got to, like, space things out. Maybe that'll be good in general. Less you know what I mean? Like, constantly. That was the big problem with this year. I feel like there's so many fucking movies, and it's like, I don't want to see this. I don't care about this. But next year, maybe there'll be, like, a couple of less that you get to have a little more breathing room and do a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
All right. Well, speaking of, I don't know how this is a segue. Here, make this into a segue into the
All
next.
right.
Come
Well,
on,
I'm gonna go
transition
from
into this. Unlike
this.
that PragerU video.
I well, speaking of someone else who was never meant to be in the role he finds himself in,
It
like,
was a fucking accident.
yeah, just well, anyway, yeah, Mike Johnson is the Speaker of the House, and he's been legitimately terrible. He's been as terrible as I thought he would be or feared he would be. Um, and there's just been like all these weird little revelations come out about him. Like wife was on his wife ran a conversion therapy place.
Yeah, there's definitely some. I think that dude's
Yeah.
um, let's just say this: he goes on a cruise ship every 6 months to a year to let some
Yeah.
steam off. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
he wants to see some other Mike Johnsons.
He's the one that I'm doing air quotes, accidentally finds himself attending Disney on gay day every year, like
Did you see that woman that was like running for something, this right wing lady and her husband, and like some image of him at like a gay pride event, like a parade like a couple of
yeah.
years ago, and he's wearing like little tiny speedos, and that's it. And I'm like, lady, these people, man. Like,
Well, there's that, and then there was another. Like today, they found an old episode of a show he did where he
yeah,
said
he
it's
does a podcast, so he tried pulling them all, but I think they
yeah.
don't
He
downloaded
said
them immediately.
every woman, yeah, some news service downloaded them all the minute he became speaker. Like
Yeah,
he like sent an intern over to the communal
thanks for all the
iPhone.
content, asshole. That's when Joseph becomes head of the school board. That's when I really blast, YSGOAT and tell him to listen to that
Right.
episode where just talks about boys' pants being half off.
Where he talks for 45 minutes about women brushing their teeth.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird episode. I didn't even start. I didn't even start that episode. You put that off. That was an offshoot.
That was a Tuesday night.
Joseph after dark, he calls it.
You still brushing on about that?
He's still brushing his teeth. Yes, you are.
Yeah, well, he said like each woman's responsibility is to bear at least one working child or something.
One working child,
Yeah.
like they're not damaged. Like, what is he?
An able
He's
he's
like
it was weird. He said it was like an
a worker.
able-bodied child that could contribute to the workforce.
Oh my! I hate these people. Like, it's such a weird, like, like. Yes, it is better society to have
Sure.
able-bodied people, but when
Yeah.
someone says that as like, it's weird and
It's
crazy,
awful,
and you sound like a fucking, like, I don't know, that dude. First of all, this dude is he's an incursion. First of all, the reason why he's even in office is because he's in like an insanely gerrymandered district in
yeah.
Louisiana.
Well, that's
Pretty
what someone was saying. He and I could be wrong, but some guy wrote that like this guy's never run for office. He has run for office, but in his part of Louisiana, there's no Democrat to run again. Like they didn't
Yeah.
even field a
So
candidate. So
this is a very anti-democratic, literally anti-democratic politician in every sense of the
yeah,
word. And then he's like put in as like a weird placeholder for the Speaker of the House. And again, all the Republicans voted for him.
yeah,
So all these so-called moderates or whatever. He was being interviewed, and he's like, "Well, if you want to get to know what my politics are, you just pick up the Bible and read it."
yeah. It's
Like,
crazy.
are you sure about that, buddy?
Right. When are you gonna start shutting down the Red Lobsters?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the again, guy's gonna suck. He's already like trying to do this bullshit where like they want to like make sure funding any military aid or whatever that goes to like Ukraine is a separate vote from
Yep.
Israel. He made some insane thing about how we should all sacrifice for like Israel or something like that. I don't even know, like literally removing benefits from people.
Yeah.
Like,
He wants to defund the IRS and like get rid of SNAP or something to fund
again,
Israeli. Yeah.
this is a guy you're like, how these people get win? They don't have to win.
Yeah. He's never had to run a competitive
You just have to
race.
be there. You just have to be there in the right place, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it is. I keep hearing stories like someone's going to come out with evidence against him for, being gay or something like that.
It won't matter.
It won't matter. Yeah. I mean, it never matters.
That'd be funny.
It'd be hilarious. But
Oh, he has a. This is the best one. SNL touched on it, and it was really funny. That a guy,
yeah.
his large adult black son. So
Jeez,
Mike
yeah.
Johnson adopted a. Yeah. So yeah, it's this stuff came. Well, it's not that it came out. It's like people were aware, I guess, but people who don't know who this fucking clown is, that at the age of 25, he wasn't married, right? He wasn't married yet.
No.
He adopted a 14-year-old black kid, uh, and a black male
Yes.
who I mean that's odd, right? At 25-year-old by himself, like
I don't even know where you can. Do they let like 25-year-old?
it's probably some religious shit. It's probably
Probably.
like some like I don't know,
Yeah.
but and people were bringing up Nestor again. Matt
Yeah.
Gates,
From Matt
that
Gaetz's.
weird
Yeah.
son. That well, the Matt Gates thing is just like odd. It's like it's an ex-girlfriend's brother
Yeah.
who like is really just like his intern.
Well, was he from Cuba too? I remember at the
Yeah,
time
something
thinking
like that.
like,
Nestor.
yeah, this could have been like some
But it gets really
nice.
fucked up when you find out like Nestor is like the same age as a lot of the women that like
Yeah.
he was women, I mean girls
Yeah.
that he was that Matt Gates has been accused of sex trafficking and stuff. So but this dude's got a walk-in closet, Mike Johnson. There's like
Yeah. Seems it.
there's gonna be this dude's a freak. Something's gonna come out about him. And again, I'll say this: is there if he was gay, is there anything wrong with that? No, there's nothing wrong with that. But
No.
these people are freaks because they do everything they can to take rights away. They attack the LGBTQ in every way, the LGBT,
Yeah.
the trans community, everything. They do everything they can to attack these people, turn them into like make political enemies out of them and all that. And so when you find out they are usually the thing that
Yep.
it's awful because they do so much harm. And like I said, and it's hypocrisy.
It's 100% that. Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know. This guy sounds like a creep. Uh Hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully the Dems get their shit together and like
Yeah.
take the House back in 24 and this guy's like just a blip.
Sidelined. Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems most likely. I mean, McCarthy was pretty skilled, like politically, and he could never get anything done. So I can't see this guy doing
Well,
anything
I think
better.
this guy is just going to placate the
The
worst.
far, yeah.
This guy's an election denier.
Yep.
Like they said that, like this is a guy that if there's even anything, like let's say, even though like the Republicans call any issue, this guy will be in the house, will be the Speaker of the House in 2024 during that election, and
Yeah.
he can create an issue for, let's say, Biden gets reelected. Hopefully,
Right.
he can cause a problem, and he could be a real problem for
Yeah.
like denying like the certification of the presidency.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting.
Well, that's where you whatever weird shit this dude's got brewing in the background. That's why you make sure that shit gets out.
Right. Yeah. It is hard. I mean, like, I think the Democrats are like not between a rock and a hard place, but you need someone there to lead the House. And with the Democrats holding the Senate, you know that you can always check their worst impulses.
Right,
Like,
but he could still create a problem
yeah,
during that certification and everything.
yeah, no, for sure. But you wonder if like they do have like big evidence against it if they wait to use it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, who knows? It's conjecture.
It's strange. Like the photo, everyone's like the family photos of
Yeah.
his creepy family. They're like, "Where's your large black son?
It is
Where's your
weird.
large adult black son who's 11 years younger than you?"
Yeah. Well, he was taking the picture. He was taking the
That's what, yeah. We haven't set up that whole what thing yet.
Yeah. Uh he's yeah,
People are
that's
bringing up like the Blind Side, like
yeah.
whatever. Dude, I'm so glad that fucking family was exposed. I
Yeah,
hated
I
that
am
fucking
too.
movie. That
It's
fucking movie, man. I that was like Bush era movie. Like,
it was like the absolution of white guilt. I mean, it really was
how
kind
is it
of
not
like
white guilt, white savior?
no, but it was the absolution. Like it absolves white people of feeling any guilt because here we
He
look
took
at
in because this one family took in one kid
yeah,
and used him for his football abilities.
yeah. Well, and then people like the average white family would see that and say like, well, I often say hi to the kids on the football team, when we're at games, so I'm also
I too
clearly
try
not at
not to
all. Yeah.
sneer at them. I am a
Yeah.
good person.
It is weird. It is kind of a weird one. I remember when that movie came out, I was a one of my jobs back in the day was I was a foster care worker for the state. And like I would go in after a police
People are like
report and
showing up trying to find football players at
well
your
no no
foster care.
no, but
Got
like
any anybody
the
good that can throw a hard pass or just
I was a lot younger.
cornerbacks?
I was a lot younger at the time, and I remember going to this training because I was on the TPR unit, the termination of parental rights, and and a lot of people in the training class I was in were like, well, why don't we terminate the parental rights and put this kid in a home where they're not getting burned or whatever, and it was the training at the time even was like a little progressive. They were like, you can't like white savior these people like you I'm like phrasing it kind of awkwardly and poorly, but
Yes.
I remember when I saw that movie, the Blind Side, I was like, this is all the shit they taught me was wrong. Like the correct answer isn't to like white savior this kid, it's to like, well, how can we make this kid's life better, without white savioring him? I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing.
I
Uh,
remember I went to we thought about maybe fostering a kid and we went to like one of the
yeah.
meetings and man, first of all, like there was so much like you can't like if you have to everyone who comes in your house has to be ID'd.
Yeah.
Like it was all kinds of crazy shit. I remember there's like one couple and this guy just overshared too much information about his personal life, whatever.
Yeah.
And he had some like syndrome and he's like, I want to make sure I foster a kid who's just like me. I'm okay. And then he's like, I work for the airport or whatever, and I get a lot of free trips. Can I take this kid on trips? And they're like, no, you can't just leave the country with
I I got lots
parents.
of trips to Thailand. I like to
No, it
visit
wasn't
these.
like that. It wasn't that bad. Yeah. My friend Gary, or as I like to
Yeah.
call him, Mr. Glitter. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. My cousin fostered and then later adopted a kid, and it worked out perfectly. It was like a very from what I understand, a pretty seamless and good positive experience. And But man, I worked in foster care only for a year, and oh man, the people that foster would agree to be foster parents. Some of them were great, some of them weren't great, but there was always so many
For every
complications.
Mrs. Garrett, there was a Miss Hannigan.
Yeah. Well, no, I just remember this one guy. He was like a nice enough guy, I guess, but he like clearly was just like hoarding foster kids for the checks.
Oh
Like
God. Yeah, that's
he
why I
had,
said like Miss Hannigan or whatever
yeah,
from
exactly, from
Annie.
Annie. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had like like a 2-bedroom house and like 8 kids. He'd put like 4 in a bedroom, and like the state had nowhere to put these kids, and it was just it was very overwhelming. So anyway, I don't know how this guy Mike Johnson, when he was a 25-year-old single dude, adopted a 14-year-old young
Probably
man.
through whatever his church is.
Yeah, I think you're right. And for all I know, it wasn't. I think that's the weird part, is maybe he didn't even, maybe none of it ever happened. Maybe he never adopted anyone. Maybe he just lied about it. That seems likely too.
I
You
don't
know,
think he. Isn't there like a paper trail for all that shit?
I haven't seen anything. I mean, you'd figure that'd be on Twitter, like
I feel
a
like I need to.
certificate, or
Okay.
maybe he did. I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying that that's like the scandal either. I'm just
Yeah, I
saying
just
like,
Googled Mike Johnson's adult black son. New House Speaker Mike Johnson explains why adopted black son is staying low.
yeah, right.
New House Speaker Mike Johnson explains why adopted black son staying low profile. Johnson says the son, who he took in when the boy was 14, has to remain out of the public life.
Sure.
They remain close. And by that, he means he hasn't let this kid out of the this adult
Right.
out of the basement in the past 2 decades. Mike Johnson was an obscure congressman who came out of the dirt, grown
Like
from
a
the
fucking homunculus. Like a,
he is a collection of old
he was made from
magazines.
spit, clay, and the curse of
Yeah. A witch
a swamp witch.
Yeah, swamp witch. One part of his personal life has raised more than a few eyebrows. Johnson's black son Michael, who does not appear in Johnson family photos with his 4 biological children.
Yeah.
When Speaker Johnson first ran for Congress in 2016, he and his wife Kelly spoke to their son Michael, who they took in as newlyweds when Michael. Okay, so he was married, was 14 years old. He did a lot of chores around the house.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I added that part. I bet. Yeah. They said his room was the quarters.
Yeah.
All son needs is 3 hots and a cot, Mike Johnson said. At the time of the Speaker's election to Congress, Michael was an adult with a family of his own. He has not to be involved in the new public life. The Speaker has respected that sentiment. Keep me the fuck out. That was the weirdest 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
This kid said. This large adult said. That freak show was a weird moment.
Have you ever seen Get Out? Have you ever seen?
Yeah. Well, I got out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, well, anyway, this Mike Johnson's been in office for a week. He's terrible. All these weird stories are coming out. I don't see any.
I hope they get weirder and weirder. We don't know.
Yeah, I think they will.
Up shit. You know, it wouldn't even matter. They make up shit. Hey, how do we not know he doesn't have a child sex trafficking operation going on in the basement of his house?
Yeah. Even if he doesn't have a basement.
He doesn't?
It's just, it just seems like there's a lot going to be about this.
How do we know that he is not the disciple of Mammon or whatever? The bloodletting. How do we not know that he's not from that cult that was in the Dragnet movie?
The pagan people against goodness and normalcy.
Best part of that movie is he keeps referring to the one woman as like the virgin.
Connie Swale.
Virgin Connie Swale. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, "See the virgin Connie Swale?" And then Dragnet looks into the camera and they're like, "Not anymore."
Yeah, that was. I should watch that again. I'll bet you that held up really well.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's held up real good.
Oh, I watched. Yeah, I mean, like it held up well in some ways and held up poorly in others. I watched Fletch, the first Fletch movie.
Is that even like watchable?
I found it to be pretty watchable.
Did you see the new one with John Hamm?
No, but when I was looking for the original one, I was reminded that existed. I wanted to watch it, but I watched the original.
Chevy Chase Fletches.
Yeah, Fletch and Fletch Lives. Yeah. Yeah, I read all the Fletch books back in the day, and they were not at all like the movie. But
Yeah, I remember what's his face was trying to get a movie off the ground for years. Kevin Smith, and he wanted
okay.
Jason Lee to play Fletch, and he wanted
All
to make
right.
it more like the book and not like because I think in the books he's not like a master. He's not
No,
pistachio disguisey or
no, not at all. He's in it. They're like a good mix of funny and um drama, like kind of noir drama.
isn't he like
But
a
the
drunk or something or an ex-drunk?
yeah, well, he's got
Books.
like a couple ex-wives, and I think he does drink a lot in the books. It's been a while since I read them, but the books they're really good. I mean, they weren't great, but they were really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I thought Fletch was real fun. So, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't hold up, I guess, super well. Did you see
I mean, the
the
John Hamm movie was fine from what I remember. It was
yeah,
like it was okay.
yeah,
All right,
yeah,
well, yeah, Mike Johnson. He sucks. He's
yeah,
gonna continue to
terrible.
suck. He's a shitty person, and he's an anti. He doesn't believe in democracy.
Nope.
He, he was one of the main. Obviously not as well known, but he's an election denier. He wants to, again, I to this day will not understand these so-called Christian conservatives that got behind Trump. It is the
Yeah, it's
weirdest.
so
It doesn't make
crazy.
it makes no sense. It's like
It
such a contradiction.
yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense in a way. Like that's their whole shtick is that like really, really fucked up people that sinned a lot can be saved. You know what I mean? Like
But
that part adds up.
he didn't do anything
But
to be safe.
yeah, he that's the hiccup is that he didn't have that.
And, like everything about it is like such a joke. Anyone with like whose brain isn't worms, like one of my favorite was from like 2016. He's being interviewed by like I don't even know who these people are.
Oh,
Mark
when they ask him
Hamill.
his favorite Bible verse.
Yeah, and he's like, I like them
I
all.
like
Like,
them all.
I can't, And then he talks about then he starts talking about how it's the biggest book next to his book, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh
So
yeah,
weird.
he really learned from the Bible, or
Right.
fuck. I love it. It's like again, the idiots that like this guy, it's not
Yeah.
gonna make a fucking difference.
Yeah.
These
Right.
people, it's it, it's people like that exist so that other people can hold up a finger at you. Trump is literally just a middle finger.
Yeah.
Like he he is like these people think they're rebelling by liking him. Like he breaks whatever the mainstream is or
Yeah. Yeah,
whatever the
he's just a contrarian. These people that are just sort of like they're the people that show up on a Facebook group just to like badmouth people
well
or
they
to
also these are the idiots who think that like trans people have taken over the country
yeah.
and they have all the rights and regular white Christian people don't have any rights.
Yeah, right, right.
And Donald Trump is protecting them from, it's like it's deranged.
Yeah.
It's
Um
insanely deranged.
but Trump is, and I guess it's a good place to segue to the next one. Trump is like 40-50 points ahead of all competitors, many of which are going to meet next week to debate. Mike Pence dropped out of the race.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
crazy.
I was a little surprised because honestly, he had a pretty strong debate performance the last
He
two.
won the first debate. He was the best at
Yeah.
that. And that I don't mean like, oh yeah, he's great. I mean like he came off like someone who can be president.
Yes, he
A
looked at
horrible president, but he
right, right.
really
He was
pressed.
loose. He talked intelligently about things. He was a good mix of like, well, no, I'm going to stick to my principles on this, but we disagree about that. I mean, he just sounded like, well, I'll bet you people. I think I even said it on the show.
He could sell himself off
Yeah,
as some middle as fucked up as everything is. He could sell himself off as some middle of the road candidate, even though he's so far to the right of the road. He's off the
yeah,
fucking
but he
grid.
would
He's
be
off
like,
the
he could sell himself as a consensus choice to the party.
yeah.
But he dropped out. So you have the two big competitors now are Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, each at about 15-16%. And then after that, like I haven't heard anything about Chris Christie anymore. Victor
I think
Ramaswamy.
he might still be at the debate. Ramaswamy was trying to. This was so funny. This was a couple weeks ago, so I don't know what the deal with him is. A couple weeks ago, he was trying to pull a Trump and be like, "I'm not gonna be at the next debate," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"No one's gonna give a fuck if
yeah,
you're at the next debate." Okay, they'll just be this weird, one less weirdo,
yeah.
and the weirdest guy won't be at the debate, which is saying a lot.
Well, it's weird because I
Is
think
Bergam gonna be there?
I don't know, I hope so.
Eugenic Levy is his fan diehards call
Yeah, I don't. It's weird because I think probably on paper the only ones that are going to qualify are Haley and DeSantis, but
I don't even think what's his face is going to be there. Tim Scott, isn't he done too?
he's struggling, but the TV people have a vested interest in getting at least 4 or 5 candidates there. They may adjust the rules to get a few more of them to show up.
I remember in 2016 when it was like everyone knew Hillary was going to get the nomination, and it was like hardly anybody there. Bernie was like the only holdout, and she was just like in the end, like because Bernie, regardless if you voted or not, he was beloved and everyone liked him, and Hillary's like brain almost cracked during debate.
Yeah.
And it went like she's like, what the fuck? Why is this happening again? First it was a young black guy, now it's an old Jew. What the fuck is going on here? I'm losing my mind. Like, this is supposed to be mine.
Yeah,
Get out of here, Larry David lookalike.
Well, it will be weird. I mean, it's going to be Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley are going to be the two like to watch, and then you might have the burger guy, Eugenics Levy, and you might have
Guy's like, what the fuck? I don't believe in eugenics. Why do you call me that? Dad, you're a Republican. You believe in it.
You probably do. You may have.
It's like, you're right. I do have a whole collection of skulls of different shapes and variety on my wall. I always go up to people at my calipers and measure their heads.
You have Tim Scott, probably Victor Ramaswamy. So you'll have like a good mix.
Oh, Ramaswamy said that he was.
Oh, he's gonna skip it.
Said he claimed he wasn't gonna do it, which is like, okay, no one cares.
Yeah, exactly. That's like me saying, well, I'm probably not going to show up at Taylor Swift's next, record party.
Oh no.
Right?
I wasn't gonna be there anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, right as of right now, it looks like the only definite is probably Haley and DeSantis. And like you said, it's so pathetic that like they're just coming at like what 16%?
If that, yeah. Like on a good day, 15 to 16%.
Like what the is I feel like in the end it's gonna be DeSantis at this point. I really do. I think DeSantis
hammered with these boots and everything.
I know, but it doesn't matter. Again, no one. If he becomes the nominee, everything changes. The media will start talking about his young family and how Biden looks old and tired. DeSantis is young.
Yeah,
I guarantee you, they will push that narrative.
There's no way Trump's getting off the ballot, and Trump will beat DeSantis. We'll talk about that next, but like barring a court challenge to get him off the ballot, there's no way Trump's leaving.
Well, okay, so before we get to that, I think that's barring him from being on the. I don't think, like Colorado, for example, I don't think they could bar him from the Republican primary. It's barring if he's a nominee. Like, no, you don't get to be on the fucking ballot. You've been indicted like 1,000 times.
I don't think that changes Trump's calculus at all, because
it's not like he was going to win in Colorado.
That's what I was going to say. It's like if he gets kicked, let's say he gets kicked off the ballot in Colorado, California, and New Mexico, still doesn't matter.
No,
he was never going to win those places.
It does send a little bit of a precedent. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's very funny, and it's true. They probably should not allow him to run.
No, he should not be allowed. He should be in fucking jail, or he should be like in exile. He should be like never shown on TV.
Yeah, honestly, if he was smart,
shit stain.
If he was smart, he would just like be overjoyed he wasn't reelected and just retire and make bank.
I don't understand why anyone would vote for this guy again. Literally, anytime you see him talk he literally just bitches about 2020
Yeah,
election.
he's like real fragile. He's like
It's a
an
waste
aggrieved
of time.
grandma.
Yeah, he talks about like if he was in charge, everything would be better. And it's like, no, it wouldn't, you idiot. Like you were president for 4 years.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, so back to DeSantis. He has these weird boots that he wears or shoes.
yeah.
People have been observing, like, what's up with these? They're weird. They have like the way his feet sit in them.
Yeah.
His feet are not filling out the front of.
Right.
He's wearing like a heel.
Yeah. It's
Have
like
like clown feet in front of it.
he does look like his feet have been bound like the ancient Japanese geisha.
You ever seen that? What that looked like? Oh my
Yeah,
god!
it's really disturbing.
Yeah,
Um,
how the fuck did they did
I
not walk?
once I once spent 6 weeks of nothing but those videos on TikTok. And there's
I went down a bound foot rabbit hole on TikTok, and let's just say I'm still there. I never
yeah,
left. Once you go into the
right.
bound foot rabbit hole, you never leave.
It was really, yeah. I also remember teaching about that era in history, and yeah, like in real life, their bones got broken and malformed, and it was just really rough. Anyway, Ron DeSantis wears these boots, and it does look like he's kind of standing on his tippy toes, because like the front of the boot bends unnaturally, and even when he's walking, like the back of the boot kind of like moves
He's
up
wearing
against his pant leg.
heels. He
Yeah,
went on some show. They asked him what his height was. He claimed that he was 5'11", which means he's
right,
fucking lying. He's like 5'9".
right.
I mean, again, it's like, who cares, dude? Own it. You now look like an idiot. You're wearing
Yeah,
these fucking weird shoes. He went on this podcast called like PBD, and this guy's like a straight up right wing shithead. Like,
yeah, yeah.
he should be like, this guy destroyed him. Like, in theory, like DeSantis, this should have been like ass kiss fest for DeSantis. But I think this guy's a Trump guy in the end anyway. So he's gonna like
Yeah, that could be.
he's like, I bought shoes. Here's a gift. I got these shoes for you. Why don't you wear these? Or why don't you wear these tennis shoes? And DeSantis, like, he just looks like an idiot. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, first of all, why are you walking down the hallway like you're on a runway? Working those heels, girlfriend.
Well, so I just saw on the news this evening, I forget the newscaster. It was a woman who was it Abby something? Oh, she was on, I forget what channel she was on even. But anyway, she said like the reason this story resonates is because it cuts to the heart of who DeSantis is. And he is a person who likes to humiliate people. He likes to humiliate. He likes to put immigrants on buses and ship them off and make a public
Yeah,
spectacle of them.
cool.
He likes to shame kids. Remember when he would like told kids to
Yep.
take off their? He likes to humiliate people, and so he also has humiliated himself by like kissing up to Trump.
Yep.
And now he wears these stupid boots, and he won't admit he's humiliating. And this little
Trump
boot.
called him a meatball
Yeah.
once. And this dude has been on like insane amount of Ozempic. You ever heard of Ozempic face?
No.
What's her face has been taking Ozempic too. Sarah Huckabee Sanders. If you look, she lost like a shit ton of
Yeah,
weight.
yeah.
But her face looks, believe it or not, you're not gonna believe it. Her face looks even crazier.
What does it do? It like
It like
tightens up your
makes it like
muscles or
suckens there.
Mhm.
It's like it drains like all the fat off their face, but it ends up aging them like 10 years. They call it like Ozempic face.
Well,
Here, let me look it up. Make sure I'm not making the Ozempic face. What is
yeah.
Ozempic face? Oh, look at this. Here we go. First thing. What is Ozempic face? How can people avoid it? Ozempic face is a term for common side effect of type 2 diabetes medication, semaglutide, Ozempic.
Yeah.
It can cause sagging and aging of facial skin. A doctor may recommend lifestyle modifications or facial fillers to treat the skin and facial side effects. Ew.
Someone is selling an Ozempic is a hell of a drug, Ron DeSantis bobblehead. So
Are you serious?
yeah, it's I
Dude, this
Googled.
fucking Trump, who is a fat blob of shit called this guy a meatball.
Yeah.
And this dude ran out and started chugging Ozempic and wearing heels.
Well, it speaks to his petty. It's like one thing kind of encapsulates him really well. And that's what the newscaster was saying, is that when like a meme or a one-line joke, or when like a very simple thing encapsulates one of your greatest flaws, then you're in trouble. You know, you're not gonna...
didn't even say it like in like on. I don't think there's any audio of him calling him a meatball. He said it like offhand in like an interview. It got repeated because it was funny as shit.
Right.
This guy. And then he eats pudding with like 2 fingers. He's like, I don't do that. I'm lean and very tall.
Yeah.
I wear fancy boots that are not heels.
Well, it's just something. I mean, like he's just such a bad person, you know.
He's a piece of shit. I just think it's funny. Again, though, it would not shock me if this guy ends up being the nominee, and he'll be the nominee, just like how Mike Johnson ended up becoming the speaker.
Yeah, well, that could be.
Ron DeSantis will just end up becoming the nominee because
I don't see that happening unless Trump literally is convicted, you know.
Well, again, even if, let's say, Trump has to drop out, but he decides, you still have Robert Kennedy Jr. Even though, let me tell you, it's weird. You don't hear about him that much anymore. Ever since he came out as independent, and it was revealed that he's taking votes from Trump over.
That's true. Yeah,
just was true from day one. That it's weird. They don't prop him up as much like they used to. It's crazy. He was like constantly on like right-wing programs.
Yeah, and that's
weird. Now he's just some weirdo lefty.
Yeah.
He's this extreme liberal. I remember he went on like Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity's like treating him like he was Nancy Pelosi. It's really funny.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like, what are you talking about? What's going on here? I thought we were friends, Sean.
What have you heard about Trump potentially getting kicked off the ballot in Colorado? I've heard it's like reasonably possible that will happen.
I mean, I don't really know much about it, except I heard that that's a possibility, and that Boebert was crying about it.
Yeah.
But boozy. Let's try to think of another word for like to go along with Boebert. Boozy belching? No.
Did you see Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweet about Boebert today?
No. Yeah, they hate each other, right?
Yeah, she called Boebert, I want to vote vaping groping Boebert is what I think she called her.
Hold on, I gotta look that up. I'm on her page. Tell you, man, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's the best.
Yeah, she's a good one.
She's the real deal, man. You know, she's like a straight up psychopath.
She went after Chip Roy too.
What did she say about him?
She said, she called him Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, what? Where's the thing about Boebert?
Vaping groper. Let me see. Where was this? All right, Marjorie. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted, "You voted to kick me out of the Freedom Caucus, but keep CNN wannabe Ken Buck and vaping groping Lauren Boebert, and you voted with the Democrats to protect terrorist Tlaib." Oh
yeah, here it is. Yeah, you voted. Ah, that's the best. Yeah. Ken Buck and vaping groping Lauren Boebert. The friendship is done.
And then she said to Chip Roy, "Oh, shut up, Colonel Sanders."
I love it though. She's calling Boebert. This is the lady that had an affair with Zangief from Street Fighter. All these people are freaks. Like I said,
yeah, they are.
They're a whole bunch of fucking weirdos and deviants. They're everything that they attack. They are those things.
Yeah, it is.
Or they wish they were those things.
Well,
vaping groping Lauren Boebert. I think she's fucked. So Lauren Boebert, if she somehow, all right, 2 things that have to make sense for the election in 2024.
Yeah.
George Santos does not get reelected.
Yeah, right.
If
That's
he
got to
gets
be a no-brainer.
reelected, that is insane. Someone
Yeah.
needs to check to see if there's what corruption is going on there, or if there's a gas leak that needs to be fixed in Long Island.
Right.
And if Boebert gets reelected,
I could see that, but if this here's my fear with what is it? Adam Frisch is running against
yeah,
her. My fear is that because I know Adam Frisch has been getting a lot of Hollywood support, and I think like Ryan Reynolds just swung in to do a fundraiser for him or whatever.
he's
I
Deadpool.
Yeah, well, he may be a bad example, but I think that's the danger there is that Boebert comes and says, "Look, do you want Hollywood running this town or not?"
Do
And
you want the woman that jacks off and blows vapes at Beetlejuice? Get the fuck out. No one's gonna fall for that bullshit. She should have Beetlejuice come out and endorse her. I just she's not in the position to do that anymore. She has no moral high ground.
I don't know what it will cost to get the rights to Harry Belafonte's classic "Day-O," the Banana
They,
Boat song, but if Frisch should be running ads with
Bober wants to
that,
eat the banana.
Frisch should be running ads with that song in it. Like that's
That song playing over her getting groped, blowing
yeah,
plumes, rubbing her boyfriend's hog,
yeah.
telling a pregnant lady to fuck off and blow a fat plume. Fuck you, bitch. I'm out in the town.
That
This is
would
party time, Bober, not Congress, Bober.
yeah, I think that would be a classic ad. I think so.
Yeah, yo.
Right.
Diva day, diva day, diva day.
Just you put in some new lyrics,
Just her like walking. Dude, you should just you need to
vaping.
take that whole there. I know there's like a 2 minute clip of like the whole thing of her
Yeah,
like
yeah.
in the theater, followed by her in the hallway, like
Yep.
just being like, fuck you, now you know damn, I'm Lauren Boebert, bitch. I rule this town. And then like her like just grabbing her fucking cooch in the
Yeah.
alleyway and screaming like in the alleyway, fuck you, bitch.
Yeah. I mean
I'll
those
be back. You say Lauren Boebert 3 times, I'll show up. God, dude,
yeah.
there's got to be like that clip. Dude, man, just and then just put day over it.
Right. There you go. There's
I'm
your
on the
ad.
internet. Let it ride. Gotta get the. I'll get like. I know a couple people that will retweet it,
Yeah.
and it'll just. I don't know if it'd be as big as Judge Gorison,
Right, right.
but if it's just like it can't be more than a minute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just like encapsulates all the moments of that night
That'll
with the
work.
song, and you got to make sure the bananas line is in there.
Yes. Yeah.
One Mr. Taliban, banana.
Yeah.
Right when she's grabbing the hog.
Yes.
Right. You got to hit those notes. Everything, it's all about timing.
Yeah, I think you could probably like reverse the tape too, so it's kind of like
Constant
the
motion.
yeah, like the dance they do around the table during that scene too. Like just
It's key. You bring it back every once in a
yeah,
while. Just
right.
back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, that worked just fine. So
And
anyway,
that, I bet it'll take you like 10 minutes, dude.
yeah. So all right, so yeah, I do think kind of wrapping this one up. I do think that Trump stays on the ballots where he needs to stay.
Yeah, but it does. It is something to be said though about a guy running
Oh yeah,
and he's legally not on the ballot.
he'll fundraise it and do even better in Florida. But that's the thing is ultimately it's
Florida's a
going to
lost
come.
cause.
Yeah. I do agree though with what you said about what needs to happen is Boebert needs to go, George Santos needs to go.
Those to me make sense if they somehow, especially Santos, like the Boebert thing. Like I said, I visited Grand Junction. I've been in that area, and it definitely like feels different from other parts of Colorado.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean like it did. I felt like more like I was in Texas or something. It would not shock me if she squeaks in a win. I mean, but I feel like
Yeah.
Christian really be dropping the ball here. I mean,
I think
he
he
really
should
needs to
win.
just he needs to stress that we need a serious candidate. That's it. He
I,
doesn't have to, when the old when we go low, we go high. No, none of that bullshit.
no,
But
no.
he doesn't have to be crude. He just has to
Leave
bring
that to us. Leave
yeah,
that to
yeah. She just has to be. You just have to point out that she's a clown,
that's it. Yeah, that's it.
a buffoon, not even a clown, a buffoon.
Well, I would say
Being a clown is a craft.
it's a mix. You do need some ads where you're like, look, this she jerked off some dude in the theater. That's not normal. Like that's not us. That's
For
not
her blowing
normal.
a big fat plume after
Yeah.
the pregnant lady said, "Please don't, please,
Right.
Miss Bobert, I'm dying here," and she's
Or you can, for that area, you might even be able to say, look, this is the person you elected, and you show a picture of Bobert at that restaurant where she looks like just sort of a normal person, and then you show like a series of her in
normal.
like
She's like holding a gun.
but for that area, like a normal person, like this is
I
what
wouldn't
you
even show
elected.
that photo. That would be a plus for her.
But then this is what you got. And you show her like at the Kennedy Center and at the, like, and
I would just
this
be
is,
like, these are, you show that, and then you show how she hasn't shown up for this vote. She didn't vote for this. She voted against this. She voted against this. Like, you just,
well, and it's unlikely that she brought any projects home. Like you guys wanted, a grant to fund this timber restoration area. What happened with that? Nothing.
like,
Because
I
she was
mean,
too
yeah, that's the thing
busy.
to it. You're right. It's like, you, it's just like, it's such bullshit. Because, like, remember I told you, like, TMZ, like, did, I didn't realize they're owned by Fox. So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes
They did
sense.
some, like, damage for her. She, like, showed up, and there was, like, remember, there was, like, a, impromptu, like, hey, we're just running into Boba in the airport, and she was
Yeah.
trying to make her like she's a normal person.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just gotta like, you just gotta talk about we need like an adult. She's not an
Yeah.
adult. She's a
Right.
child.
And I think you pair that because like a lot of the middle of the country conservatives, they're anti-government to some extent, but they're also pretty pro-government when it comes to farm
Their own
subsidies.
selfish needs.
Yes, so you just point that out. You're like, look, you used to get a ton of pork here, and you don't get that anymore because she's too busy jerking off dudes in theaters and
They're
not
jerking off Democrats.
right and
It
not
was a
going.
Democrat who owned a bar that
Yeah,
played to
so
trans not trans what do you call it?
drag shows. They did drag shows there.
Yeah, drag shows.
Yeah.
The
So
old timey colloquials, like there's a transvestite and a cross dresser.
well, okay. So with George Santos and a lot of those New York Republicans that kind of snuck into office
How
this year,
if he gets reelected, then like I said, there's a gas leak. It makes no sense.
something, yeah.
This,
Now we did say like I was real surprised to see 31 Democrats vote to keep him in Congress, not to expel him. But
when did this vote happen? Was it today or
no, it was like 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Uh, and you explained to me that Jamie Raskin said that, look, the guy he hasn't been convicted of anything, and I get that logic. I mean, that does make good sense to me because he's right that like,
I think
um,
that the only people who have ever been expelled from Congress, three of them were Confederate. Uh,
yeah,
that makes sense. And then two of them were like convicted criminals. And
yeah,
that George Santos, he's like, even though he believes that he's guilty, has not been convicted yet. And he said that, of course, his vote would change immediately after
right,
George Santos convicted. But he said that, let me see, I'll just find it. I retweeted
yeah.
it.
Well, it makes sense because he is right. Like, plenty of people get charged with plenty of things all the time. Um, and the guy has been convicted, and honestly, his crimes are mostly against other chuds. He stole money from his
Well, he did
donors.
stroke
So,
that veteran, though, with the dog. That
no,
thing
that's true.
fucked
Yeah.
up. He
Well,
says,
yeah.
I'm a Constitution guy. The House has expelled 5 people in our history, 3 for joining Confederacy as traitors to the Union, and 2 after they were convicted of criminal offenses. Santos has not been criminally convicted yet of the offenses cited in the resolution, nor has he been found guilty of ethics offenses in the House internal process. This would be a terrible precedent to set, expelling people who have not been convicted of crime without internal due process. If and when Santos is convicted of these serious criminal offenses or ethical charges, I will certainly vote to expel. Until then, it's a very risky road to go down, and we have to stick by the due process. Now, let me just skip to this. I can think of 4 or 5 Democratic members, the Republicans, who would like to expel without a conviction or adverse ethics findings. We can't abandon due process. Yeah, they would immediately go after like Elon Omar. My fear is there would still be a couple of dumb Democrats that would go along with it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I get it. And ideally, he just doesn't get reelected. Or I mean, ideally, he gets.
It sucks because it's like it's the whole like, once these fuckers get into power, it's scary. It's like they don't go away. It's like that. It's like Trump. No way he's gonna win. He's a joke, right? And then he ends up fucking getting in due to the electoral college shenanigans. And it was like a nightmare to get rid of him. And it's still a nightmare. He's not gone. George Santos, I mean, again, it's a one district. 10 people just have to show up to vote and vote him out.
That's
really.
it. Yeah.
Like 100 more people just need to show up and be like, get this fucking guy out. He's a clown. He is a little bit amusing, though.
Yeah, he is really funny.
I mean, if you had to choose between your chuds, you can only pick one. I know it's gonna be tough. George Santos, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert.
You mean who do I keep or who do I get rid of?
Oh, who do you get rid of?
I'd get rid of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I don't know. I just want Boebert gone because she's in my state and she's like just so stupid.
Boebert though is like just such a dipshit. I mean,
I think she's worse than Greene. I think that I don't know. There's something about her just really offensive. Greene is horrible, but I just find her like
I can't take Greene. I just always think back to those the videotape of her stalking shooting victims, and it's just how gross she is.
How about this? Only one can stay. George Santos, Boebert. Santos gets to stay.
Welcome, George.
Stick around, Santos. You are an icon, a legend. I'll tell you why too. Because Greene is in a very red area of Georgia.
Oh yeah,
really difficult to get rid of her. And Boebert is in a purplish district. Santos should have not gotten in.
Yeah.
In theory.
No way. Marjorie Taylor Greene has that job for as long as she wants it. Those people in that district are literally like pooling brain cells together to make decisions. So
do we eat at the Golden Corral? The other Golden Corral.
These
are the people that eat bread at Golden Corral. I think they got one.
Fill up on bread.
What?
Fill up on bread.
These idiots that fill up on bread. We got
them. Yeah.
No, please don't eat the bread.
Yeah. So anyway,
I mean, Raskin brings up a good point, and
he does.
Again, the kind of Republicans that we're dealing with are psychotic these days. Like, it's like, how can you even deal with? You know what I mean? Like, how can anything get done really?
Well, ideally, like under Pelosi, plenty of stuff got done. She had a good mix of like all the Democrats sticking together and getting things passed. And then she did have multiple instances where she could corral like 3 or 4 Republicans to go along with her.
Well, the one thing too, someone that brought up a good point. Remember that bullshit forced to vote garbage? Like it was after like Biden won. There was like these so-called fake leftists were claiming like AOC and the squad, they need to force Pelosi that if they want support, they got to bring Medicare to a vote. And it's like, what the fuck? You know it's going to fail.
Yeah.
It's going to make these people look stupid. And we kind of saw that happen with the Republicans with the whole Kevin McCarthy thing and everything, the whole debacle with like it would have just weakened these people politically. they shot, went in like children and said, we're not going to vote for you unless we have this failed vote for Medicare for all. That's not going to happen in the House.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Well, I don't know. Well, I hope maybe Santos may go to prison before this happens.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You ever see his sister?
No.
I think his sister's like a con woman also.
Oh,
Like
Jesus.
George Sand. Yeah, it's really funny. Like man, there's gonna be like a there
Yeah,
has to be like a documentary series about this guy when it's all done, and a movie
the
about
talented
this guy.
Mr. Santos.
Yeah, like everything about it. Like bring in characters that we weren't fully aware of, like the sister and everything, and just
Yeah.
like I don't care if you make him lovable and we root for him in the end.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't care. Go ahead, do that as long as he's not in power. But everything about this guy is just like it's so bizarre.
It is. It's right out of Hollywood. It really is.
They're just
Um,
waiting. This script's like just waiting. George Santos probably like, I'm getting a piece of that. He's gonna be like
yeah.
doing some fucking prison. Like I want my like 20% Netflix.
God. All right. Well, we have two related topics left, both having to do with Twitter.
Wait, this isn't about you, George Santos. This is about uh Julio Montos.
Yes.
He's from Argentina.
All
And
right.
he
So
was a congressman in New Jersey.
yeah.
Totally fictional.
All right. So this morning, I got on Twitter and I noticed that, like, what is it, D-Trans or something was trending,
Oh God.
and Prager University was trending.
There was a big ad the first time I put on Twitter,
Yes.
and I was like, this is so gross. I'm like, this is weird like I don't know if it's for a documentary or whatever you want to call it, propaganda piece
Yep.
put out by PragerU. And yeah, it was like people who like came out and like, I detransitioned. I'm like, what the fuck why am I seeing this? And I like
Well,
immediately blocked it. I'm like, I do not want to see this.
but you saw it all day, didn't you? I mean, like, I
No, I
blocked.
blocked it, and I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I've been like going on Twitter less, and I'll get
Yeah.
it a little bit. I'm getting burned out on some of this stuff. I don't
Yeah.
think it's good for me. But we could talk about that. Tell me what this Prager.
Yeah. So I had blocked Prager University a while ago. And so I thought it was weird that I was seeing these ads from PragerU.
Well, I think
And
an ad is different.
it apparently is.
Yeah.
But like that's not always the case, because there's plenty of ads. I went through a period where I blocked every ad I saw. And I never saw those ads again, never saw those companies again. But with this one, it was inescapable. You couldn't block it, you couldn't mute it, you couldn't. And with every other ad, when you say, like, don't show me this ad, it says, well, why? Is it unhelpful? Is it not relevant? Is it like, help us figure out what ads to show you? With a PragerU ad, you didn't get an option.
Yeah, that again,
It-
like Elon Musk is fully vested with the right wing
oh,
chillosphere.
yeah. Yeah.
Like he's an anti-trans person, which is fucked up because one of his kids is trans.
Right.
It's like 30 children that he's had. I mean, these people are monsters. They really are.
Yeah.
And like Twitter's just a cesspool at this point. It's like, oh, why won't people advertise with us? I don't know. Probably because like the main
It's
ad that
awful.
you can't block was this like bigoted bullshit attack on trans people.
Even if it, yeah.
They're gonna watch that. And again, they think they're being normal. They're like, see, you can be transition. You don't have to be this way. It's like, what the fuck?
Even if it were, let's say, even if it weren't offensive, and it was very offensive, but just the notion that this one ad you couldn't get rid of, like all the other
Yeah.
ads you can. Let's say I start getting ads for Chevy trucks, and I'm not going to buy a truck. I can click on the ad. I don't want to see this ad. It says why, and I say it's not relevant, and then I don't see that ad anymore.
Yeah.
But with this, like, even if you don't care about these issues, you probably don't want to see this ad all fucking day. I mean, it's just like
Yeah.
it's really something. And Prager University sucks. They're like the worst.
That guy Prager is such a piece of garbage. I remember he went on. This was years ago before Bill Maher completely turned into a right wing chud.
Yeah.
He was still like, I don't know, somewhat of a progressive ally in media, which isn't
Yeah,
saying
sure.
much. And he had Prager on, and I remember Prager was just throwing all kinds of bizarre, trying to shove in as many weird right wing conspiracies.
Yeah.
And Bill Maher just looked confused, like what? Like,
Right.
and then it's like Prager's just some. Again, he's just this fucking gross person
Yep.
who's like he's been married like 12 times. I don't know. He seems like such a nice guy. I don't know why no woman would want to stick with him.
Yeah.
And he's like he's just paid by like fracking companies. Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
that's what these guys really are all about. They use the culture war shit, the attack on gay people and that. But at the end of the day, their
It's for
main goal is to, besides lie about history, is to obscure environmental damage and all the shit. They're funded by like polluters and
yeah.
same thing with the
Yeah.
Daily Wire. It's all the same shit. Prager's, and the thing that drives me nuts too is like Prager's this like Jewish guy, and he'll claim like how anti-Semitism is bad, but then like completely
Yeah.
just kowtow to Nazis, like actual
It's
real
baffling.
Nazis.
Yeah.
He'll make some like
Well,
excuse for them or whatever, and he's
you
just a horrible person. The thing that's worse about him too is the fact that it's called like PragerU, which is,
yeah.
but that there's school districts and
Yeah.
like parts of Florida that like Florida is like, yeah, we're gonna like use PragerU as a source material. It's like, what?
Yeah. I gotta
I
think that's
use the
gonna
Daily Show as a source material? What the fuck?
I think that's gonna backfire on them. Those are
That
so
school board
comically
in Oklahoma,
yeah.
that asshole too.
Yeah,
Remember?
Kevin Stitt. Yeah. Mm.
Has
Well,
anyone in your kid's school tried pushing PragerU? Any of the teachers?
no, I'll tell you, I have been, and I don't want to say too much about it, but like I've been really pleasantly surprised with the curriculum stuff I've seen. We're in Texas, but even the Texas, my kids taking Texas history right now, they're pretty like straightforward with it. Like, this person tried to, genocide the native population. I mean, like stuff that you would just like normally just sort of take for granted. But I'm like, oh, okay, I guess they are still teaching like stuff, that makes sense.
But they didn't mean it. They keep adding that.
Yeah.
They didn't mean it.
Sam, yeah, Mirabois Lamar slaughtered 15,000 Cherokee at this battle, but later on he
He
adopted
was
a
sad.
14-year-old young black man. So he was
So everything's okay.
so it's all good. That man went to play offensive tackle for Baylor University.
It made that family a lot of money.
Yeah. So if you think about it, he was the least racist person you know.
It was Andrew Jackson,
Right.
who is famous for slaughtering indigenous people.
Yeah. Well, you've said that you've lately begun blocking Chud accounts, and I haven't done that a lot lately, but I went through a period where anytime I saw a tweet I didn't like, whether or not it was from a famous account or not, I just blocked the person.
Well, I'm going after I'm just like done. I don't want to see these people on my feed
Yeah.
anymore. First one I blocked was Tim Pool because I just can't stand him. He's the worst because like anytime there's like a celebrity that dies, he implies it's like he won't outright say he's all coy and cheeky about it, but it's some anti-vax shit. It's
He's
like
just so dumb.
after Matt, yeah, he's dumb too. He's like such a dumb asshole. Like, but like I think he just thinks his audience is dumb. I don't think he's that dumb. I think I've seen him work. I mean, he clearly knows what he's doing, and he's made himself very rich. But I mean, you could say he's an asshole and an idiot, but I wouldn't legitimately say that he's legitimately dumb. His audience is dumb or ignorant. He's hoping they're ignorant. He's not consistent. Like, it's hysterical. Like, when he had I can't stand him. I watched the only time I ever watched him was when he's had certain people on interview, like Matt or Emma. I forgot her name. Emma something from Majority Report.
Oh, yeah.
And he said some bullshit to her about because he was like anti-Ukraine war, and he's like, well, in a way, I'm more to the left than you because I'm anti-war. And she's like, no.
Yeah.
And she threw out, okay, what's your position on Israel? And then all of a sudden he's like, well, I don't know enough about it to have an opinion.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll bet.
okay, you lying sack of shit. You know what I mean? He's just like this, like, he's just a lying scumbag,
Yeah,
Like
grifter. He's
that
just a
guy
grifter.
who killed like a bunch of people in Maine recently.
Yeah,
Like he watched Temple,
yeah.
like
Right, right.
Temple sells like prepper buckets to people. Like
Yeah,
he's just the worst. He claims he was like this liberal and like he's just a lying sack of shit. So it's like
yeah,
I'm so sick of seeing this guy on my feed. Not he doesn't say anything like of any importance. It's all like rage bait. It's all like and yeah, once in a while I'll tweet something at him and I'll get like 3 likes and haha, I got you, Tim Pool. It's like no, he gets
yeah.
paid to be on Twitter. What?
That's
Like
yeah, that's his job.
yeah, like that's not where he made his main source of income is all his channels on YouTube. He's like a millionaire from it. But he's still making income from Twitter. And so when I retweet him or
Oh
requote
yeah, you're
him
putting money right in
or
his
I
pocket.
reply to him, now of course I'm not it's not gonna be a big deal. I blocked him, whatever, but I implore more people to block him because he I'm not gonna block like Lauren Boebert or George Santos or March Taylor Green or Matt Gates. I'm not gonna block those accounts because at the end of the day, they're politicians.
Yeah, and the
They
public
they
interest accounts.
they craft the bullshit that's going on today. Tim Pool is a parasite who adds nothing to this world except to enriching
Yeah.
his pockets and make society just
No,
just thicker and meaner.
I think
And
that's a clear difference.
so I am like, I'm blocking him. I don't care if I'm removed from the conversation. I don't want to be in that conversation. And then I saw a tweet from like Charlie Kirk. And I was like, I'm so sick of this fucking guy.
Yeah.
He's like a young Dennis Prager. Like he's like, he
Yeah.
teaches USA and all that bullshit. He tells people not to go to college, which is like, no, I listen, not everyone has to go to college, but there's something to be said about people having a higher education and learning more and
Yeah.
learning they didn't learn in public education or schools that they went to. He just wants to create people ignorant working class people or workforce that like didn't do any learn about unions or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. That guy's a piece of shit. He's a racist, homophobe, transphobe, all that stuff. I was like, I don't need to see this fucking guy on my
Yeah.
feed. Like,
Yeah, you're much happier
there's
without it.
nothing added to. There's no benefit. There's no benefit. Like, I've already replied to him. Yes, he has a tiny weird face on his large head. He's a
Yeah.
strange looking guy. I've drawn him a couple times to because it's funny. He's like a
Yeah.
character. It's simple. They're funny, but like I don't need to follow them. And then I saw that guy Jackson Hinkle. That guy fucking sucks. Do you know who that
Mm.
is? You know who Jackson Hinkle is?
It sounds familiar. Who
All
is
right,
it?
so here's this guy. I don't even know his like. I guess he used to be like a Hillary supporter back in the day. Then he was like he claimed he was like left wing, but he was like one of those
Okay.
weird like force the vote type people, and he would go on like Jimmy Dore all the time, and
Okay.
he was like a guest. And I remember he went on some one time he was on what was it? He went on the Majority Report to debate Sam Cedar, and the fucking clown like claimed halfway through that his signal or whatever didn't work, and like
Oh.
the debate ended. And I was like, that's bullshit. That's such bullshit. He just weaseled his way out. Like I
Yeah.
pull the fucking plug on this right now and claim, oh sorry,
Right, right. No, I
power,
follow you.
shit happens. Uh, and he's a Russian propagandist. Like he's
Yeah.
constantly kissing Putin's ass, and he claims he's like for Palestine with the whole Israeli thing. It's like
Yeah.
he's like has
Unlikely.
pushed like all kinds of anti-Semitic tropes over the years. I'm so sick of like seeing anti-Semites who support Israel just so they can or attack. Actually, he's worse because he's claiming he's for the Palestinians, even though he's not.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking racist. Funny thing about that guy, Jonah Hill stole his girlfriend.
Oh. I think I've seen stuff like that on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it's that surfing girl who like
Nice.
Jonah Hill like said like you're not allowed to hang out with other. I don't think. Well, first of all, I'm like Jackson. I'm like, so he's probably some like little rich kid too, because if he's hanging
Probably
out in the same
sounds
fucking
it.
social circles as Jonah Hill,
Right.
like I'm sorry, that's not normal. Like regular
No,
people
no.
don't. Yeah. Again, I blocked him because at the end of the day, he's just a rage bait account. Like
Yeah,
I
that's
need to block and wokeness. I gotta go do that.
yeah.
Like I don't care if my feed just consists of like people talking
Yeah.
about movies or uh
Twitter,
whatever
yeah,
comics or
Twitter can still be good if you like work at curating it. It sucks that you have to work to curate it, but it's still doable, you
well
know?
again it's like and I like so many times I've like put I want to see less tweets from these people,
Yeah,
but I always see their tweets because
always.
just like Elon has pushed that trigger you propaganda.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
why does no one want to advertise on Twitter anymore? I mean, X anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know, probably because like the first thing they see is some insane
Right.
video.
Yeah. You're going
Like,
to immediately alienate about 30-40% of the population. And the other 30-40% of the population are going to be like, well, why is this place talking about this all the time? It's just no good. It's designed to appeal to maybe 15% of the population. So, well,
yeah.
not, yeah. Anyway. All right.
Well, I don't know. I recommend. I mean, listen, I have no real skin in this game. Like I said, Joseph is the only one that's profited off of this
Yes.
podcast. He gets uh he actually just hoards goats.
Got my first Roseanne's loose meat sponsorship.
Yeah, loose me. What is that like? That was when the show was on like the early '90s, right? The whole loose meat thing. I think they should become like a macadamian farmer.
She and Tom Arnold had a few loose meat sandwich restaurants in Ohio,
So
and they were
weird.
going to franchise it across the country until people realized what loose meat sandwiches were. They're like,
Isn't it just sloppy joes?
it's like a sloppy Joe, but without the tomato sauce, I
It's
think.
like, hey, can I have a hamburger? No, here's something that's just gonna glob all over you.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So anyway, yeah,
You like your bread wet and soggy?
yeah.
No, I don't. Actually,
Does
here's the thing. I
does
don't.
does White Castle keep you out of the bathroom for too long? Do you need?
Well, we have a solution for you. It's called loose meat, not because the meat is loose, but because your bowels will be incredibly loose.
Yeah.
So back to us saying, if I have no skin in this game, I'm not
Yeah.
in media. I'm not. If anything, like it, I feel like it hurts me as an artist. Like, I mean, I don't even. I'm not even like a paid political artist. I'm not a paid like commentator. I'm not paid for any of this shit. I'm an idiot for responding to
Yeah.
paid
It's
these paid trolls. I'm the moron. I'm the sucker. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
in that equation, yeah, I agree. And I still
I know
occasionally
I'm
fall
like
for it.
I didn't say Ben Shapiro, but I should. I should block those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Matt
So
Walsh, all them. Like, there's nothing to be gained. There's nothing
all
to be
yeah.
gained.
It's just bad for your psyche or soul or whatever you want to call the thing that like keeps you up at night.
I was talking
And
to some guy recently. He was telling me, he's like, yeah, like people like Trump and all that, they exist to, it's like it's just there to like piss people off. And
yeah.
then it's like the right people get pissed off, and then the people who like they might not even like him, but they like seeing you pissed off.
Yep.
So they will defend that guy to the death.
Yeah.
Just because it's like the whole you get to own the libs. It's like that insanity.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I don't want to play this game. There's nothing. There's no reward. It's like playing Candy Crush without actually seeing that candy get crushed.
Yeah.
It's just your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you think it's funny. Tim Pool did respond to a couple of my tweets over the years.
Mhm.
It's kind of weird. So I don't know. I always thought that was on. My favorite though Twitter moment was when Dr. Jordan Peterson, and I say doctor very loosely.
Yes.
It had to do with like Bill Maher's interview, or whatever it
Mhm.
was. And he like retweeted me. Do you remember that? Like, I was
Yeah,
like, why am I getting like
that's right. Yeah,
up
yeah,
the
yeah.
next day? And I was getting like all kinds of insane comments. And I'm like, oh my God, I got re-quote tweeted by this fucking weirdo grifter.
Yeah.
That was enough for me. I don't need to be like,
Yeah, that's where I tap out.
you know,
That's
I
right.
say this, but then all of a sudden, like in the next couple of weeks, I'm on like all these shows. And I'm like, that's my angle. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be part of this, man. You know what you gotta do? You gotta unplug. And then all of a sudden, hey, you know what? Tune in on the Blaze. I have a show. It's about unplugging, you know, it's about tuning out, man. You watch this show and sign up. And I'm gonna be on these shows. But man, remember, man, go outside and touch some grass.
Right.
Like it's just because this whole contradiction. And then I'm on Rogan. Wow, so you really think people should like tune out? Yeah, I really do. What's the ratings on this one, Joe? That'd be a funny angle. Like,
Yeah,
dude,
that would
I've
be.
seen like those. Was it like Deepak Chopra? These like
Yeah, a
new
lot of that's.
sounds like you
Mm,
need to do this, this, and this, and it's nothing. It's like air. There's
yeah,
really
it's
they're not
all.
offering anything.
Nah, it's all an illusion. Yeah.
It's my illusion, Michael. What's that from?
Arrested Development.
Yeah,
It's not magic; it's an illusion.
it's my illusion, Michael.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'm gonna be on the cover of Poof magazine. We demand to be taken seriously.
Keeps talking about the Magician's Guild. Do
Do you remember wrap this up? Do you remember what was it, Marvin or his puppet show about
Oh yeah. Jeez, yeah.
Oh God. And he sings Ebony and Ivory.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Franklin. That was, I think his name was.
Yeah, right.
And I said that when I was watching it, I remember watching Soap a couple of years, like watching everything Arrested Development, and I was like, holy shit. Arrested Development is pretty much just Soap.
Yep. Yeah.
Because there was a guy who was a ventriloquist on that show.
Right.
He had a dummy on it.
Yeah, I remember Billy Crystal was on that. That was a good show. Yeah.
And Mona was on it.
Yeah.
From Who's the Boss?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
She was hot on that show.
Yeah, that was a while. Yeah.
I remember watching and being like, Mona? Mona.
Sam, close your eyes.
What?
Sam, close your eyes.
Samantha. Mona. All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done it already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.